Evan,
We're back.
we're back for episode number 101.
We survived our 100th episode, our nearly 4-hour episode, and we have returned.
We returned. We officially turned over. I Evan, I don't know if you've ever seen episodes of King of the Hill.
No.
But I'm sure you're familiar with the character Hank Hill.
The lead character with the glasses?
Yeah. This memory of this one scene stuck out in my brain. It's so funny because like he was like very excited to see like he's been driving his truck so long that the miles are so high that they're about to turn over to like back to 0-1.
Oh wow.
And he was very excited to see it, and he was driving, and then sirens pulled up behind him, a cop car to pull him over. He looked in the rearview mirror, and he was like, "Oh dang it!" And he looked down, and the speedometer turned over, and he was like, "Oh dang it!" And he got even more upset at that. Yeah. Anyway, that's just reminding me because we did the turnover. Now here are 101.
New era, buddy.
Yeah, new era.
Yeah,
new era, not just for
crazy.
us, but for the DC universe.
For the DC universe, yeah. Is the DC universe over? I mean, these two are technically Aquaman, right? I mean,
they do, yeah. But it technically in some alternate continuity. I don't know. Maybe they've erased some cast members. Who knows? But
maybe, yeah. But they kept Aquaman.
Yeah, he's a constant. No Lobo here.
Oh boy.
We'll get
we shall see. Yeah, Blue Beetle, Aquaman still in the cards. Hopefully they can do better than the Flash for Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers really needs some jet stream in the box office here because hopefully Barbie can do that. Barbie, people keep thinking of our chat specifically that I'm like the Barbie pessimist over here, and I'm not. I want Barbie to succeed a lot. I'm looking forward to Barbie. I just think
it's not Mission.
It's not Mission Impossible. It's not beating Mission Impossible. It has no right beating Mission Impossible. It's not going to happen. And also,
it's not going to make $1 billion.
It's not going to make $1 zillion. No, I think it could be a smash hit, but I don't know. I think long term it could be. I don't know if it's going to open to something like an 80 or 70 even $1 million. That'd be huge. That'd be great. But don't be surprised. I said it here first on the podcast. If Barbie opens to the same exact number as the Flash with 55 million, one would be deemed a failure, which was the Flash. But Barbie, 55 million for a $100 million opening, not that bad. John Wick came out earlier this March with a like $77 million opening for another $100 million budget there. A little bit higher for John Wick, but overall, I think Barbie's going to have a good long run at the box office and should be happily beating Oppenheimer next week. But we're not here for Barbie versus Oppenheimer. That's July.
That's later.
That's later. That's later days. We're here for.
I know that's. Are you going to do a double feature for those?
No, I don't do double features. I'm too old for that.
Well, I will.
Yeah, I don't have the attention. I will fall asleep during the second movie. It could be. You could play me Empire Strikes Back and The Last Jedi back to back. I will fall asleep on the second movie. I can't sit in a movie theater for 4 hours without falling asleep.
That was the worst example you could have made because if somebody clips that out of context, then
hopefully not.
No.
Evan hates Star Wars. Evan thinks Last Jedi is boring. What? No. It's just that like I'm invested when I go see a movie, but if I sit there. If somebody says like, okay, Evan, in 15 minutes, in 30 minutes, the next movie starts, I'm like, whew, I got to refill on candy, got to refill on something because like I can't watch a movie without eating something. And usually watching one movie, I can eat like a snack and then chew some gum, I'll be fine. But having to rinse and repeat that for the second movie, I don't know, Bob.
Easier than you think.
Yeah, it probably is easier than I think. It'd probably be better than I'm thinking about it. But Barbie is like an hour and 50. Oppenheimer's like 3 hours long, and Nolan's like it will leave you devastated. I'm like, oh my god!
It's for that reason, and it's weird.
It's second, right?
No, I'm gonna watch Barbie first.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, Oppenheimer is second. Barbie first. Yeah.
Because I don't know how I can like walk out devastated, and then like 30 minutes later,
yeah, it's jarring.
I don't think I can do that. I think I'll go in happy, and then I'll walk out just like. never smoked before today.
And Nathan walks out like this. They're like, Nathan, what are you doing? You're not even smoking. I know. I'm just.
I too have become death.
You're right. Yeah, that'd be good. I sort of know what I'm gonna do. Probably Barbie on Thursday, Oppenheimer Friday, something like that. Or I could go to that blowout extravaganza thing that they're doing. None of my theaters have sold out yet. So,
Evan, it's. I think we're gonna talk about Secret Invasion first.
Sure.
But I do have to mention. I told Evan just before we went live. I went to The Flash again. I went again with my nephew because he really wanted to see it, and it is so funny sitting next to him with the PG, because this is the first PG-13 movie I took him to, and yeah.
How old is he?
I think he's 7.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, he it's so funny like having him sit through the PG-13 trailer package, because the immediate first trailer is for an R-rated trailer. It was a last voyage of the Demeter.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, it's full blown horror. He seems to be doing all right. And then like it's just going through. It's like there's Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, cool. Blue Beetle is around. They also had the trailer for Oppenheimer, and I don't know, it's just funny like this like big grand thing, and it's like he's 7. It's like it's Oppenheimer.
He's not interested.
Oh no, he was like watching it, and I don't know how the fuck, but like he saw the dude and he was like, he literally looked at me and was like, wait, is that Albert Einstein? and I was like,
Twitter.
Yeah, I had a fucking PTSD film Twitter about the fucking like shared universe jokes. And then yeah, by then he was like, I want to see that, and I'm like, no, you don't. You're gonna be bored as fuck.
Yeah, it's a slow burn movie. Don't expect like this tense trailer is the movie. No, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a slow, haunting, tense movie, but still, yeah, kids don't know what they're getting into. Did you not take him to go see Guardians?
No, thought about it. He was even like intrigued, but I did not.
What happened?
The animal cruelty made me sad.
Oh my god!
We talked about this. Don't
Off
make me yell. I don't have a
screen
voice.
animal cruelty.
Not off screen. Man. It's out of focus in screen.
You took him to go see Flash.
And we'll watch it on Disney Plus.
Have your cousin card revoked.
I still saw Guardians 3 times, so they have my money. It's fine.
They could have your cousin's money too.
They have my A-list reservations.
That's wild to me. Okay. It's fine.
I took them to Across the Spider-Verse. You're welcome.
That's good. There we go. I keep forgetting Across the Spider-Verse is PG. I don't know why I think it's PG-13, but PG makes sense.
It was like they said bad words. So I was like, they did.
How many bad words can PG movies say? Because they did say like, what did they say in that? They say like damn, or what did they say?
You can say damn and hell.
I think they said both in Across the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I forget the instances, but like I remember hearing like damn. Or
Gwen said what the hell when she was being put back.
When she's getting put back. What the hell, Miguel?
Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
Mouse's ass, kind of.
Oh yeah, got the kid's ass.
Got kids in. It's so pretty.
Peak. Hey, we could just do another Across the Spider-Verse review. We can just be another 3 hours of.
So now we got the Easter eggs. And then we go through. Did you know that Spider-Man Unlimited has the anime sweat?
Wait, does he?
Yeah, it's going around Twitter right now.
That's awesome.
They keep finding like the tiniest details, and the animators jump in like, I did this shot.
It's funny. People are finding the tiniest details because we're watching like pirated videos.
And it's clearly the pirated screenshot.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're like, ah.
And then creators are like, I did this drawing. It's like,
I'm him.
Thank you for acknowledging our pirated versions of your movie. But yeah, we could do another stream, not right now, of course, but like about beyond the Spider-Verse theories, because I'm always thinking about more theories for that next movie. Dude, when that trailer drops, I'm really curious to see how much the internet's gonna explode, because people were hyped for Across the Spider-Verse, but with Beyond, it's like this is like that Infinity War Endgame level where I'm like, people were like ecstatic for Endgame. It's gonna be crazy.
I think they're going to keep Miles's feature in the trailer limited to him versus Prowler. I don't think we're going to see past that.
See first act stuff. Yeah,
we'll probably see like the other Spider Group and Miguel and his team like in different scenarios and stuff. But you never see Miles outside of going against Prowler.
I'm so many thoughts. Head empty to Spider-Verse. But anyways,
yes.
Nathan, we have a new Marvel show to talk about. What was our last Marvel show that we talked?
Was it last Marvel show? Yeah, it was She-Hulk.
Has it been that long? It's June. Has there been no Marvel show this year? We had Mando this year, Bad Batch this year.
Yeah, we went into the Star Wars of it all.
It was all just Star Wars early first half of the year. But yeah, Disney's coming back with good Secret Invasion's right now. Loki's going to be in August, and then Echo drops all at once, everything everywhere, in October or November or something like that. I wonder how we're going to review that one. Yeah.
Evan messaged me on Tuesday about like, hey, when did you want to do Mission Impossible 2, which we're going to do tomorrow. We'll plug there. But I was like, oh, hey, let's talk Flash tomorrow and then do Mission Thursday. And he was like, okay, did you also want to cover Secret Invasion? And then I realized, oh my God, Secret Invasion comes out tonight. I forgot.
I forgot. The hype was not there. I'm very curious. I mean, there was talk about it today for the wrong reasons, but I'm very curious what the numbers are going to be for Secret Invasion. Because I remember the reactions coming out were just like, this is brand new. This is really good. But then reviews came out, and then they were more mixed with 69, 70, mostly positive. And then today it's all been about the intro stuff. I've heard jack shit about the plot. Which is good for me because I walked in pretty empty in terms of like, usually when I catch a show like in the mid-afternoon, there's some spoilers on Twitter. Today there was like none, which is good because the ending was really surprising. But we'll talk about it all.
Yeah, I was surprised I wasn't spoiled by that because I didn't mute anything pertaining to said character.
Me neither.
But I did hear like the chat go like, "Whoa, that ending!" And I was like, "This is a scroll reveal." And then we opened with one.
I know. Oh, yeah. So all spoilers for Secret Invasion, of course. We're going to be talking about episode 1, Secret Invasion. Let me let you in on something, Nathan. I was spoiled about Secret Invasion months ago about Everett Ross being a Skrull.
Really?
And I was like, fuck, man. Because I'm just scrolling through Twitter. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, man. It was one of those leakers. I have no idea. It wasn't like Toast or whatever, those guys. But it was somebody. I'm like, fuck, man. Hopefully this doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the show. And then he's in the first scene. I'm like, oh, thank God. I was so happy. I was so happy that this got revealed so soon because I was so nervous that it was going to be like a finale reveal that Everett Ross is a Skrull. Because I thought he would be a pivotal character to the show. But I'm so happy that the league didn't end up mattering because it's only for the first 5 minutes of the show. Which is interesting because like after Black Panther Wakanda Forever, we have Everett Ross on the run. The trailers let us into that like, oh, Everett is going to be on this covert mission with them. No, he's out in the open somewhere. But a Skrull just happened to take his place in between Wakanda Forever and now.
I think that's the key bit to remember here is that I don't believe that Everett Ross has been a Skrull this whole time.
No, yes.
And I think it's clearly established with how they're assimilating real people. Is a really cool detail that they call human shells because they're pretending to be them. And the fact that they could take their memories is another interesting thing. But yeah, clearly they're held hostage in those pods. So I imagine Everton one of those because the characteristics of like him in the 2 Black Panther films does not all match like the cause that these Skrulls are fighting for.
Exactly. Because I saw some people now were saying like, does that mean Okoye who rescued him was also stop it? Stop it
as a motherfucker when everything's laid out in the first episode.
Exactly. And let me just say this for a lot of people as well. I don't think this show is going to have big overarching reaches in terms of like who's who in the MCU. Like, I don't think we're going to have to be like, are the Guardians, have they been real? Have the Avengers, or is they still? Like, I think a lot of the who's who is going to be relegated to the characters that we see in show in this show. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's the present right now.
Yes.
Not like who's always been.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're not gonna have to dig deep and be like, oh man, does that mean, what are the implications? Like, no. This is a self-contained, as much as you can be in Marvel, a self-contained show in which the who's who is going to be the characters that we saw in episode 1. Now, those characters who we have seen set up, like, you know, Olivia Colman, Nick Fury, as we saw today, like, there are certain characters that, like, you're not going to know who's who, given the characters that we got. So I wouldn't be, because people are overthinking, you know, which is fine. Marvel people have fans, but I think it's just like consider only the characters that we know and see from episode 1 onwards. Like the president, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a future episodes we're gonna see a president, a la G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah,
and that was interesting too. It's the first time we're seeing a MCU president since Iron Man 3.
Oh, good. I paused it. I was like, Jalen, is this the first time? I was like, no. I was like, when was the last time we saw a president in the Marvel show? I was like, see, the Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. He was like, was it one of the Caps? I was like, I don't think it was one of the Caps. I'm pretty sure it's Iron Man 2 or 3. I said 2, but you say 3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3, President Ellis. Now, this is interesting because
you're right. Yes.
We know that Thunderbolt Ross, now played by Harrison Ford, is going to be the president in what's the new title for Captain America 4?
Thunderbolts. Or Captain America 4, Brave New World. Same title as the classic Huxley novel, Brave New World from 1930s. We had to read that in school. Did I talk to you about that? Brave New World? It's one of my favorite school-focused books about, like, just a different dystopian type of society. And they did, like, orgy-porgies. It's really weird. Yeah. Yes, 10th grade. Look it up, guys. Brave New World. It's a very fascinating thematic book. I really liked it. But anyways, yeah. So
we read The Outsiders.
I never read Outsiders. It always sounded interesting to me, though.
There's a movie of it, and apparently Tom Cruise is in it.
Oh, sweet. I gotta fill in my Tom Cruise gaps someday. Right. But yeah, so yeah, like you said, we know Harrison Ford's gonna be the president in Cap 4 and in Thunderbolts. Yeah. Presumably Red Hulk in both, or maybe one of those.
What's a Red Hulk, says Harrison Ford.
Right, yeah, what's a Red Hulk? I think the leading rumor is he's Red Hulk in Thunderbolts more so than Cap, or would I have that backwards? Do you know the leading rumor right now?
I know there's a lot of Hulk elements that are going to be in Brave New World, but yeah, if we lead into Red Hulk, it would be like a tease for what's next.
But yeah, so not looking good for our current president in episode 1. If Harrison Ford's already cast as a president, right?
Right. I recognize the actor though.
Do you?
I remember liking him. I can't remember where he's from, but I remember liking.
Thank you for the help, buddy. Yeah, great research. Don't blame your sickness on not being able to research for the show, Nick.
Hey, I've always been sick in the head.
But yeah, I paused it. I told Jalen that. He's like, "Oh, so this guy's gonna die?" I'm like, "Yeah, probably finale. I would assume this guy's a goner." There was, like, if you want to dig deep into the trailers for Secret Invasion, there was, like, you know, that caravan on the highway, it looks like, and there's like an explosion people remember, and Talos is there. I think that could be a scene amongst other explosions in this show where, like, the president gets killed, gets blamed by Fury, and Fury becomes target numero uno. He could already be target because he effed up big time in this premiere. So,
well, Rhodey himself is reporting that he's AWOL.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, Rhodey, like, who's your real loyalty to? Call a brother.
Is it a Skrull?
Is he a Skrull too? I wouldn't put it past him. These Skrull sleepers. Oh, before we dig into Secret Invasion some more, Nathan, what are your thoughts on some of the complaints I've been hearing? I think some of it is valid. I'm a little mixed on it because I don't really care. But people have been saying this show is a little bit of a 180 from what was set up in Captain Marvel in terms of, like, Skrulls are actually going to be the good people. The Kree are the bad guys, as we saw in Captain Marvel 1, say in the 1990s. The Kree ended up being the main villain. Like, you had Ronan, and then you had Marvel, who was a Kree, right? Yes. And then played by Jude Law. So then, like we've been used to, like Kree being the good guy, Kree being the bad guy, Skrull being the good guys, and then in this show it's completely flipped.
Mm.
With And I think the show does a good job of saying like it's not exactly everybody. These are the people that were promised by Fury that hey, you're going to do your job for us, and then now they have been radicalized and turned evil. What are
Mm.
your thoughts on that? Like in terms of like Marvel kind of flipping the script so they can get their Secret Invasion comic show moving. So
The way you led into that question, I thought you were gonna start talking about the AI intro.
no, we can talk about that afterwards.
Well, I find it interesting. I don't think it diminishes anything. I think it just paints a complex and compelling narrative, right? You know, it made an interesting thing in Captain Marvel where it's like these are villains. Oh no, actually, they're the victims in all this, and it's like, oh, that's an interesting side. But then it also does, I think, make the whole species of the Skrulls interesting in a way. They're not just all like we're all the pure souls of the galaxy. Like they're like humans, we're not all good. So there's some bad ones out there, and there's going to be conflict. That's just how like most species are really. So
I agree. I agree with that. And already from episode one, I'm already liking certain characters like Gaia, of course, played by Emilia Clarke, but then also our lead guy, Garrick. There's a G and an A and a V in there somewhere. The main,
Ariana.
the main villain, the bomb guy.
Hmm.
What's his name? Gavrick. I forget his main name.
Gavrick.
But
Top Gun Gavrick.
Top Gavrick. But I like him already because like it seems like him and Fury had a history. And Fury feels like he failed them, so that's a little bit of guilt pushing Fury back to Earth here, so that he has to like kind of like amend those relationships.
There's an interesting like through line looking at this, right? Like when you look back at Captain Marvel, just like, oh, we're gonna do everything in our power to help you guys, and then you know Fury may have scorned some Skrulls, and seems Carol has scorned Maria to an extent. Like, what the hell happened in the in between?
That's a great point. Yeah, like that's going to be brought up in Captain Marvel 2 later this year, November 10th, where Maria with Fury, where Maria, as we know from like some pre-release interviews, the actress is saying her and Carol are not on the best of terms, contrary to what we saw in Captain America 1 or Marvel 1, where they were like sisters, right? They were really bonded.
Which they allude to in WandaVision.
Exactly. But yeah, in WandaVision, we also learned like, hey, they're not on the best of terms. And it kind of goes into what Gaia was saying, where it's like, even though Maria's not a Skrull, it's just like Carol promised to help out these people of Earth, and she's been away from Earth for quite a long time. So people feel like, where have you been for us lately? Which it kind of brings me into a side story, but like, I've been so interested in what's the next phase for Marvel, the next Avengers, really, and I really want to Captain Marvel on Earth so she can be like a because without like our Avengers, like what's Carol? Carol had a huge obligation in the first movie to like help them out in the Kree Skrull War. That's why she's been away. But she's also an Avenger, so she can also interact with the people of Earth and like help amend those relationships. So I wonder if Captain Marvel 2 is even going to dig into that. Probably not. But like I've always found some of the Earth stories interesting for Captain Marvel, where she's like returning to Earth, and people like Kamala idolize her. And so a lot of people remember and love Captain Marvel, but she's such an interstellar hero that she doesn't have time for the people of Earth. And I wonder if that dichotomy is ever going to be brought up at all. But yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic. Both her and Fury have been like making these promises in relation to people on Earth, and they disappear, and then they come back. And now, as we saw with Fury, not doing so hot with the people on that he used to know.
Very literally disappeared, and that's having an effect on his psyche.
Big time. Oh yeah, I like that. Like just who else was kind of troubled by that? Maria, right?
I mean, every survivor.
Every survivor.
Lost 5 years of their life.
Good point. But I remember like somebody it dug a little bit deeper. I don't know, but yeah.
Yelena,
yeah.
probably.
Who?
Yelena, probably.
Oh yeah, Yelena. Yeah, that was also very cool. But yeah, so it's very interesting. I really like seeing overall just a vulnerable Nick Fury in this episode. finally see Samuel Jackson play like a more down to earth character for Fury, because
Yeah.
Fury so far in the movies, we always love his cameos. He's great, but outside of Winter Soldier, which he was also pretty vulnerable in as well. Outside of that, he's been this larger than life character, doing like being the hoorah kind of character, right? He's like your galvanizer.
He's the stoic spy who always has his guard up. It's just like, hey, yeah, like we're allies.
Yeah, like peace out, like say something inspirational, walk away kind of thing. He's never been.
We'll be in touch. I'm always around.
Yeah, and that's it. He did check for $10 million, Samuel Jackson. But that's pretty
10
much
seconds in Endgame. Let's go.
Is he in? Oh yeah, he's at the funeral in Endgame. That's just it, right?
He is.
Good.
I choose to believe that is him. I mean, if he came to Earth for Death of a Skrull, I think he's gonna come to Earth for Tony's death.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, didn't he go to Saber after Tony's death? Like
after Tony's death, but before Far From Home, because it's Talos as Fury all the time.
Oh yeah, you're right. So yeah, so it's very interesting. So
you feel like we already kind of did the who was the Skrull at a time already thing.
Yeah. Speaking of Far From Home, I'm shocked. One of the major plot points in this first episode is that Gaia's mom and Talos' wife is dead.
Yeah,
it's pretty shocking to me. I don't remember the actress who played her previously.
I am blanking, but yeah, she was also the person who filled in for Maria Hill at the time for whatever reason. So they must have had some type of nice connection going on.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I'm pretty shocked they kind of like threw her away and made her more so of like a emotional anchor for both him, Talos, and Gaia. They're more sort of like remembering her through like this way your mother would have wanted kind of thing. I'm kind of shocked why he isn't in the show, but I guess like smaller cast. I don't know. Busy, but
I'd hate to be that actress. Oh, fuck him out.
Right. It felt very weird. Like I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, she's not here. Like it was more so shocking because like I'm so used to Talos being like the family man, right? He's with his wife in the first movie, Captain Marvel, and then he's with his wife in the Far From Home. I'm like, oh, they're doing fine, and then she just died. But that's classic Marvel. Like mother characters, who needs them? Who needs mother characters?
We're Disney.
You're Disney, right? Jeez. We don't like mothers. Yeah, you don't ask where Cinderella's mom is, right? So yeah, it's been not a great history of Disney and mother characters, or yeah.
Wait, what is the situation with Cinderella? Like, does she still have a dad? All right, did he die but marry this stepmother?
Great question, Bob.
She's in her custody. How old is Cinderella?
How old is Cinderella? I bet Cinderella is younger. Terms? I bet she's younger than we think. Like in Cinderella, like they look a bit older, like probably mid-20s.
I think it's that old school like art style that makes them
exactly
that
right. Yeah. It's the old school art style that makes you look a bit older than they actually are. Like I assume princesses like Belle and Cinderella are all like 18, 19, like not super old, but it's
really watching young. Like those are some realistic nostrils.
Yeah. Like when I was growing up, I'm like, oh, those are like adults. Those are like parentage age, like right. But like no, they're like probably young teens. Belle, Jasmine, all of them.
Right.
Yeah. I think Snow White's the one that looks kind of like the youngest. I can see Snow White being in her teens. Yeah. We'll get to that in our Disney commentaries one of these days.
Right.
But yeah, so where do we begin for a Secret Invasion? We kind of see. Do we start off here with Nick Fury coming back to Earth via ET?
Yeah, great shot, by the way.
Cool shot. Yeah.
I mean, I just right away, like I love the way the beam comes down and expands, and just the silhouette of like that classic like thinned out alien look, in the out of focus and he walks in the frame.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I guess we forgot. We have the whole intro coldish, hottish open with Everett Ross. Because as I said, he turned out to be a Skrull, but introducing us to like the conflict of the world, setting us up big time exposition dump, which I don't like, but it was pretty tense, and I liked it. It was really cool.
It really throws you into the feeling of a sense of paranoia that I think is going to carry throughout the show, and a lot of this episode for sure. Of you don't know what is the truth.
Big time, yeah. Versus like Scrolls, you get your really nut job guy. It's like it could be any one of us. Watch out. And I like even at the end where Ross is like, okay, I'll take this tape. I'll give it to Fury when I see him. I'm like, yeah. It just the way they set it up with the angle. I was like, it seemed very sus even before the guy tackled Ross. I'm like, okay, this guy is sus. Like the way the angle they set up, the way he looked down at the tape, he was like, okay, thanks. Like he was a lot less jittery than Ross is as a character, right? Ross is kind of like that confident but jittery kind of character.
I think I've always viewed Ross's character very much like he's pretty no nonsense. Even if he's like out of his depth, he's just like, well, just CIA business. I got to do what I got.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
And honestly, the way he was like talking about, I'll give you this, I'll give it for you. Like it seemed like something he would say. So, but also when the whole topic that we're discussing, this show did a really good job at like making me like walk a tightrope of like, is he not?
Yeah, it was very cool. So it's setting us up straight from the jump that like anybody you talk to could be evil. But also in terms of like spy noir, this is my favorite genre for TV shows. I love this shit. Like, I watch all the spy shows. But when a character says like, okay, thanks, like when you get a big piece of information and somebody's like, okay, cool, I'll be sure to talk to that guy for you. I'll be the middleman. Sus. Never trust the middleman. It's like, okay, cool. Thank you for this large chunk of information. I'll be right back. I'll be sure to call him for you, right? Yeah, definitely. When somebody says that, I'm like, nope, tackle, get them out of the picture. Never. And then I got to be a big brother as well. It's like, if somebody's being a middleman to you, like if I say, hey, can you tell Nathan that I really want to work with him, right? Don't tell somebody to then talk to that person for you. Talk to them yourself. Because the middleman now has a big piece of information.
Can you ask her if she likes me?
Basically. And then the person you're telling that to has no obligation to you. You gave him all your cards, and you're just like, I hope they do it for me. It's like you're supposed to sit there twiddling your thumbs.
I've literally been in a situation where somebody asked like I have a crush on somebody, and then somebody will ask like, hey, do you have a crush on this person? And I'll instantly be like, no, because I'm not given the power to shut this down.
Yeah, you have to.
Let me live in my anxiety fear where I will never progress. I won't progress on my terms.
You have to deny.
The door is always like Schrodinger's cat that it may be opened and unlocked. It won't, but I have the ability to maybe.
Yeah. That's
What's
so
wrong
true.
With me? I need therapy.
No, you're fine. It's a very human reaction. Literally, it just came back from seeing Elemental, and something similar to that happens. But it's a very rom-com trope, where it's like somebody admits something early, and you're just like, oh, no. It's like, wait, what? It's like
see you in chemistry.
Yeah, see you in chemistry. Classic. Like
whenever we're watching Dragon Josh,
we have to. Yeah. People was like their instinct is to divert or to deny because they don't want to say their true feelings. They're not ready to say their true feelings yet. Yeah. Which I love. It's a classic rom-com trope that I eat up every single time. Where's the Marvel rom-com at? We've had spies. We've had some black and white craziness. We've had some multiverse.
Is Spider-Verse doing it? Are we trying?
Yeah, I hope so. Beyond the Spider-Verse, just take out the spot. Give me a rom-com.
It's weaved in.
Yeah.
Like a web.
Peak.
I think we kind of sort of Miss Marvel did. I was like, come on, he's got to make it.
Miss Marvel was great. People like have somehow like deteriorated on Miss Marvel recently. Like, oh, the first few episodes are great, and it gets worse as it peers off. Like, no, for me, I actually really liked some of the later episodes. Come back to this podcast where I was defending the flashback episodes and the finale. We both really liked those episodes. But yeah, I mean, give us a Yelena Kate Bishop show for Hawkeye season 2. Make that a rom-com, and that's easy money, baby. Easy money,
shit.
Right? Come on.
Oh shit! On Pride Month,
road trip rom-com with Kate and Yelena. I'm just saying, Marvel.
Summer of Super Spots.
Right? Oh shit! Right? We'll write the script for you. We'll do it on air. You don't need AI.
We'll do it on air.
We'll do it for you.
Live writing session. Does that mean like we're typing out loud, or are we
Yeah,
just
we'll do
silently
it. We'll do a
working with a live
24-hour stream. We'll take turns, Nathan. 24-hour stream when we write it
I
down.
have thought it would be interesting to do a 24-hour live stream for something.
Yeah. It would have to be on Twitch instead of YouTube because a YouTube 24-hour stream would be very long without
I'll do it.
constant. Like, yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna watch all of phase 1 right now.
I'd have to be playing something. If we could like play something, I would love to do a 24-hour stream though. It sounds more doable.
Beating The Last of Us 2 in 24 hours.
Honestly, put it on easy mode. I'd probably do it less than 24 hours.
Oh shit.
Put it on a crushing though. I'll be like, screwed.
He says reading every letter.
I know. The Easter eggs.
Santa, bring me a gun to be strong.
Oh,
it's the
man.
one letter I remember.
And Ellie's like, fuck. But yeah, Secret Invasion. So the first scene, it gave us an exposition, but it gave us an insight that there was bombs being made, which kind of transitioned to be the whole plot of the episode. Basically, is that there's bombs happening. Skrulls are planning on building or getting a bomb, and it's going to be unleashed in Moscow somewhere within the episode. I didn't think it was going to be all in one episode, but it kept going. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know. I forgot it was 54 minutes as I was watching it.
Yeah. My brain started to, I think it too got paranoid because I started asking too many questions. Primarily when Talos unveiled himself over the Ross body. He turned into human Talos, and I was like, we'll turn into Skrull Talos to prove it. and then my brain went, can Skrulls turn into other Skrulls? How deep does it go? I'm scared.
That's a great question. Probably you can't turn into other Skrulls. That'd be way too OP and weird physiologically.
Like, do they do other species? I mean, I imagine they do.
I imagine they do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they do. They do because they turned into other Kree in the opening of Captain Marvel.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I gotta rewatch Captain Marvel. Dylan and I were like, "What? Maybe you can answer this. Why? What happened to this Skrull homeworld? Is it just destroyed, or I know there's a war, but did they all leave because of the Kree Skrull war? They can't go back home because the war's still going on. What happened to the homeworld?
I think they were overtaken, and that's why they're on the run and like in that, like they are looking actively for a new home, which is why they're here on Earth.
That makes more sense. I said it was a war, but the world being overtaken by Kree makes more sense. Because I'm like, how can a war be going on for like 30 years now?
It's the age of Ronan the Accuser.
Exactly. So okay, yeah. Oh yeah. So
I
that's
think the Marvels are gonna tackle that probably.
Okay. Cool.
It's so funny that like not one Skrull in the Marvels trailer.
No, not at all. Is Ben Mendelsohn even set to appear in that? I don't think so. Maybe
I would imagine. I think he's
maybe. Okay.
Doing voice work for Bad Batch.
And we know Nick Fury is here. I know, right? Just come across the studio, please.
Were we like that? Like he's filming Secret Invasion? Like he stepped in the booth one day?
Yeah. It was like something Death Star. Whoa!
Project Stardust. Let's go.
Project Stardust. Let's go.
My achievements.
Not yours. Speaking of characters that we could see in other things, I'm already liking what we see of Gaia in this show. Really curious. I wonder if he named his daughter Gaia because of like, the Earth symbolism. Gaia symbolizes like Earth, and the Titan Gaia is like the Titan of Earth, basically like giving birth to like the gods mythologically.
That's cool.
So I thought of when I think of Gaia, the two things come to mind. Percy Jackson, she's evil. She's like the Titan, evil Titan Gaia. And also in God of War, she's evil. God of War 3. Gaia, of course, is very evil. She's kind of like the main baddie in God of War franchise, at least for the first 3 games. She's trying to take over. She's trying to defeat her, children and Zeus and all them kind of stuff, using Kratos to do it. But anyways, we see Gaia here. I'm like, oh, maybe because Talos is on Earth now. He respects the people of Earth. He named his own daughter after her. after the idea of Earth and Gaia. But anyways, I like what we saw of Gaia here. It's a very interesting character played by the fantastic Amelia Clark, the best, the GOAT.
Sarah Connor herself.
Sarah Connor herself from the fantastic Terminator Salvation. Genesis. You're right. I see. I even forget that Salvation is the Bale one, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And Sam Worthington.
Yeah, Sam Worthington when he was supposed to be a movie star. Yeah.
Also, they're both 2009. That's the same year as Avatar.
Are you sure Salvation 2009?
Pretty sure, yeah.
What do you miss their movie release dates?
It used to be. So there was a writer's strike, wasn't there?
You're right. Wow, 2009.
I'm pretty sure the writer's strike was Salvation.
Oh,
I think
is
that
that
was it.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense in hindsight. But yeah, so we learn about Talos kind of interacting with Fury. We also see that Gaia, though, is kind of working with the baddies. I don't think are we the baddies? Does the new group have a name? They're in New Scrollos. What's the fucking
Flag Smashers?
They're the Flag Smashers of our Secret Invasion.
Planet Smashers.
Hopefully, Guy doesn't end the finale getting shot unceremoniously. Like
that's why they took out the mother, so we already had one.
Yeah, you can't kill off too many female characters. I mean, they even killed off maybe fucking Maria Hill by the end of this episode. Which I have thoughts on.
I have thoughts too. I do not accept until the funeral.
Right?
Because it's so funny. The episode started and I'm like, it's really cool. I literally said it's really cool that we're getting to see more of Maria Hill this far along since 2012. This is really cool. Bang.
If she is truly fuck it. Let's talk about it right now.
Okay.
If she is truly dead, that's fucked up. Now, I think it's a good thing that I'm surprised. I admire the ending because it's 4 bombs blowing up wild. A lot of death. Maria Hill, the execution is pretty interesting. You think it's Fury. It's actually not Fury. Wow. She gets shot. It's sad. But holy shit. Maria Hill, if she's truly dead, got done worse than power broker as Sharon, whatever her name is. Sharon Stone? Sharon Carter.
Stone.
Yeah, I'm like, Sharon Carter, awful character development.
What happened? Weren't we fans?
I think I was.
I thought you were. No, it was when they started making her like an antagonist. You were like, excuse me?
Yeah, it was weird. I remember I can't go back to the U.S. because they blame me for what happened in Civil War.
What's she coming back for? Is she going to be in effect on Armor Wars? Is it for Thunderbolts? When is this tying back? Brave New World? Fuck.
They forgot about it.
Where are you?
What did you do?
What did you do? I immediately thought of you during that scene because we're going to talk about it.
For Flash, you mean, or
for Flash?
Okay.
But back to the sequel.
But for Maria Hill, I'm like, just like you, Nathan. I'm like, okay, I like Kobe Smulders a lot. If you see her in other products, she's a very great actress. She just Maria Hill has just never gotten the right amount of screen time. She's never been getting her rightful due. She was serviceable in 2012 with Avengers because that was her role. It's her first big introductory role to her kind of character, her dynamic with Fury. We got that. Yeah. But ever since, it's just been pretty one note.
She's in Winter Soldier a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She's more of like an Age of Ultron, just sort of like here's some data on the twins. But that's about it.
Here's your exposition dump on the twins.
She disappears just as fast as Fury in Infinity War. She's silently at the funeral in Endgame. And I don't know if she popped up anywhere else. She may have been featured in What If.
Maybe.
But
my brother showed me that there was an interview where Kobe Smulders was like, this show gave me the most I got to work with as Maria Hill, and I'm very excited for people to watch the show. I'm like, was she lying?
Are
Was
we
she lying
flashbacking?
to us? Are we flashbacking? Because she said like I got to do so much work with Maria Hill in this one compared to the other projects. I'm like, okay, cool. And then Jalen showed me that tweet. I'm like, maybe she's just fooling us, or maybe there's
Can
more.
can Scroll Science bring her back?
Maybe, but what got me to be even more concerned was that in the end credits it says like guest star Kobe Smulders.
Yeah, I
And
was
I'm
like,
like,
excuse me.
doesn't bode well for her future returning. If you're a guest star in the first episode, um,
Hmm.
so not
Or
good, Bob.
maybe it's like she's there. We think she's dead. Hiatus. Come the finale. She's back, baby.
She's back. It's still it's giving fringed a little bit.
I never liked the term.
It's not great. I don't want her to be like this. Oh, because it's the classic. Let's kill off a female character so our male character can be upset for a season or two. I'm like, okay, like come on, like we don't need this for Fury. We already know he's kind of dealing with him coming back and like his own death with the snap. Like that's already very interesting enough for Fury. So to have that Maria Hill thing on top of it is just going to add to it, which is fine. But is it necessary? I don't really know if it is, but it does heighten the stakes for this villain. Who I looked up earlier, his name is Gravik. That's the exact name.
Gravik.
So yeah, but yeah, that was a very interesting end to the show. But yeah, going backwards a little bit, I want to talk about where was I at? Oh, let's talk about the Amelia Clark organization of it all, New Scroll, whatever it's called. I'm pretty sure it's called New Scroll List. It's new something with the scroll in the title. And homeboy walks up, something about like maybe find home and peace again in this new world, whatever. It's very short and sweet. And we're introduced to like this compound, and via some of the conversations from Fury and others, we realize that a lot of the scrolls who were originally sleeper cells that we knew from like Far From Home and Captain Marvel, sleeper cells have grown into, or most of them at least, have grown into this antagonistic force. And most of these antagonistic forces are now being located in abandoned nuclear facilities across Russia, because Russia has the most abandoned nuclear facilities in the world. Makes sense. It's the largest country in the world. Space-wise.
It's so funny. She pulls up the refugee that she picks up to a nuclear camp, and I was like, oh, what a smart move to also hide me.
Yeah.
The good guys are here. But my brain, what it did was like, oh no, they're gonna find them here and assume they're the bad guys, but they're not.
Oh, you think like you thought they were good guys?
Yeah. I thought they were genuinely good guys, and that they were gonna be framed as the bad guys because their intel tells them this is where they hide out.
Oh, gotcha. No, yeah, these are the baddies.
Yes, no, she went to the back door, and I was like, hey, those are people.
yeah, there's people in shells, or they are shells. But yeah, it was so interesting. So what we learned about this place is that, like, yeah, this is one of many refuges. The leader is Gravik, played by I forget his name now, but he was an excellent Malcolm X in the movie One Night in Miami. I will look him up as I continue talking. But in the show, Kingsley Benadir, he's fantastic.
The name of the president?
What?
You have the name of the president?
Oh, let me see. Actually, if is Ritson the president? Don't know. Christopher McDonald looks like the president. Could be him.
That's not what I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know either. But either way, Kingsley Ben-Adir, fantastic actor. I was very excited to see him in the show, and so far, I'm liking what he's doing so far. He's so far from his first episode, he's a little bit one note. Like, I'm just a villain, I'm the bad guy. But he's not touting himself as the bad guy, or even as like the leader, right? Like in one of the later scenes, the guy says like, "Hey, this whole organization is like You are our cause.
You're the cause. Like, I'm not the cause. Home
I'm
is
not
the
the
cause.
cause. What did you say?
Home is the
Home.
cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says home is the cause, not me, which is very interesting. Whenever villains kind of divert their authority towards like the universal goal, really.
Mm.
You see this a lot in Star Wars. Just like it's don't look at me, look at our cause, right? Like I'm not the leader. I'm just the Republic, right? Look at the average Chancellor Palpatine. So he's always like, no, it's all about the Republic, not me, of course. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, I like that. But most importantly, I like his seemingly relationship with Fury here, where they seem to have had a past. He must probably have been very close to Fury, but when Fury, just like Gaia, whenever Fury kind of dipped and kind of forgot about his promise to build these guys a safe refuge on Earth, he kind of became radicalized like Gaia. And he's been trying to create his own home on Earth through radical and through violent means. I like some of the scenes that he's had throughout this first episode where he's just like looking out the window silently in his own office, just like looking out like solemnly, like kind of sad, but also contemplative. It's very interesting. I'm very curious to see his future scenes with Fury, aside from the finale, or aside from the end of this episode. I mean,
I found it really interesting by the end of the episode when they're walking through the town and he's taking all these different forms of these people that were around Fury at these different points, alluding that he was always there, witnessing what he was doing every step of the way, which means, Fury ain't got nothing that he can hide from him.
Oh, wait, hold up. Is that what you took away? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, because like at first he's the kid that he saw before he got quote unquote kidnapped. Then he's the dude from the bar. Then he's a lady that was around on the streets.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the first time hearing this. I didn't know that was a thing. Wow, that makes a lot more sense. Holy shit. You're right. That's even more scarier than what I was initially thinking about. That's so fascinating. Holy shit. Yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, he was around the whole time and Fury had no idea. And that's very cool, Nathan. I like that. Thank you. That's why they pay you the big bucks, Nathan. Oh man.
That's why I talk every 5 minutes.
Exactly. But yeah, and then at the end, Fury was unable in terms of their relationship. Fury was was unable to kind of like pull the trigger. Is that what you took out of that as well?
I saw he couldn't fire into the crowd, and so
he couldn't fire into the crowd.
He was safe.
Yeah,
like preying on the compassion of the hero.
Exactly. So I'm very curious to see what their future interactions are like, because yeah, that was a very interesting ending and reveal for those two characters. But overall, I'm very curious to see how this new organization goes about. Hopefully, they are given as much depth as we're hoping for, and they're not just another Flag Smashers where we see them a lot, but we don't really sympathize with them too much. Or the show makes us not sympathize. Because remember, the Flag Smashers were like, oh, they're not our antagonists, but then randomly they blew up a hospital. And we're like, okay, I guess they're evil now. So it was weird.
This is the only way they'll listen. Well,
yeah, we're like, okay, yeah. It just felt odd and ill. But I'm confident that we're gonna have some cool things here. And let's talk about Gaia a little bit more here. Emilia Clarke's character, daughter of Talos, kind of splintered off from Talos because of not because of the mother stuff at all, but just because of her relationship with Fury, where she's like, you're still working with Fury, you're still working with the humans in general, and I gotta do my own thing. I gotta work with the bad guys.
She said, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own."
Oh man, she put a mouth around us.
Gaia, give me the bombs. Nah.
I'll do my own thing.
To that point, though, I do find I think Talos had my favorite characterization of the whole episode personally.
Okay, yeah.
I really love how he is a lot like pacifistic. He doesn't really want to get his hands dirty in that way. He doesn't want to fight. But also, I love the scene when he does reconnect with Gaia briefly.
Great scene, yeah.
It's clear to the audience that like Gaia isn't really going to go with him in this moment, but he wants to trust that she'll make the correct decision. Like even when like she shoves him back, like he doesn't like get defensive or fight, try to like pull her back. Like he lets it happen.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he kind of lets it happen. You're right. He's a pessimistic character. Prior to his talk with Gaia, his daughter, he had the fight, and he was a kind of like getting his ass kicked a little bit, doing well, but then also getting his ass kicked. And Fury kind of had to step in. Because yeah, I think you're right. Talos is a very interesting dynamic that we've seen set up so far, where a lot of the enemies, a lot of the people in the show, the Bat Scrolls, are calling him traitor because they're going against the wishes of the violent majority. I guess you want to say, in terms of trying to build, establish a new home on Earth. While Talos is still of the idea that like they can work with Earth. They don't have to. Nobody has to die. We can just work together, and hopefully the people of Earth keep their promise. Basically,
Yeah, they seem to have swayed the scrolls into like a us or them mentality.
exactly. And Talos is still like, why not both?
Yeah.
And Talos can't really. So Talos is kind of caught in the middle. He's getting called traitor by his own daughter. But you're right. That does a very awesome, powerful scene between him and Gaia. And then when he tries to tell her that, like, hey, you're working with the people that got your mother killed, and then she realizes that her mother. Well, first of all, she says something along the lines of like, "It doesn't matter what mom thinks," because I think Taylor says like, what would your mom think of what you're doing right now, working with the bad guys? And she's like, it doesn't matter what mom thinks. And he's like, doesn't or not, she's you don't mean doesn't because it already happened. She's already dead.
Yeah. Her last words were to find you, find Gaia, and that's how it's revealed to her.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
She's gone.
And then that's kind of the tipping point where she says like, yeah, the last words were to come find you, and also you're working with the people that got your mother killed. So she's like, wait a second, I'm working with the people that got my mother killed, and her mother's dead in the first place. So I like that scene where she kind of like walks away still from Talos. They don't kind of reconnect immediately, but then she goes behind the alley with the bombs, and she just sobs in the alley by herself. It was a very sweet scene, or sad scene. Just her contemplating kind of like what to do next. But then she comes back, she delivers the bombs. But even when she's delivering the bombs, you can tell like, okay, she's really starting to switch around, which I thought was a little bit soon. I thought we would see this turncoat-ish Gaia happen later on, but she still delivers the bombs. But then, okay,
did she 3D chess us by marking empty backpacks at the end?
Oh, theory time.
She was the one carrying them, so presumably, she might have known
that two of them are going to be empty.
Yeah, because she was one to mark them and pass them along so that they could track them. They're just tracking nothing.
Yeah, it's a good point. I took it as like they were tracking. I thought they knew that like there's 3 bombs, but one of them can be the real one. But then, like you're right, because there's multiple. There's like 4. I counted 4 explosions.
Yeah.
There's only 3 bags, so were all 3 decoys? I don't think so, but like either way, they were chasing decoys.
I do think the setup is like yes, all the bombs were already planted to begin with. They just needed to effectively separate the group.
Yeah.
To make them vulnerable, which how they were able to gun down Maria.
Great point. It's a good well thought out plan by Gravik there. He also gets to emotionally manipulate Fury in the process.
And Maria, it's really fucked up that the last thing she sees is her, effectively her best friend Fury, gun her down and with a maniacal smile, and then the real Fury hold her in her arms. She passes.
One of the best scenes, not just in comic book movie history, but just movie history for me, is the scene, probably already thinking it, from Logan. Which is, it wasn't me, Charles. It wasn't me. Oh my god. It wasn't me, Fuck. Man.
That hurts, man.
That scene, for me, I would never forget being in a theater and just like leaning in my seat in shock and awe. Because it was just so powerful. I love Logan to death. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. That scene always hits deep whenever I rewatch it. Because that scene is it's brutal. It's shot like a horror movie. And
Hurt by Johnny Cash plays.
yeah, I hurt
Intense
myself
songs.
today. Logan, can you hear the song? No, I can't draw.
Restart the track, look.
Put it on shuffle, please.
Play that one again. I have found a song.
One of the best trailers of all time, man. Great.
Something has come on.
Anyways, what were we talking about? Bombs, Gaia, whatever. So yeah, so Gaia is already an interesting character. You're right. She could be 3D maneuvering us, already still lying to us. I want to take the route that that she has turned, and maybe this was her last mission, and then maybe she even got played by Gravik. Wouldn't put it past him. But Gravik seems to have a lot of trust in her. When Gravik's talking to one of his henchmen, one of the lead henchmen of the episode, one of the white guys, he looks over. He's like, let her do the snatch and grab for the art dealer. Art dealer who's not an art dealer. So he seemed to trust her in her. She seemed to have a lot of influence in that group. So maybe if I was her, I would stick around as a turncoat. See how long I can last. It's pretty dangerous, but I don't know. I don't know what route they'll go. This was 4 big explosions. Maybe this kind of changes her mind. I don't know if this is an escalation, because we're kind of jumping in via the show. We're kind of jumping in to the chaos of what's going on in this world. I don't know if there have been previous bombs or threats. By the prologue, it makes it seem like things have already been escalating.
Yeah, there's been like a cause and effect situation between like 5 different nations.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if Gaia, if this bomb, as big as it is to us, 4 big bombs in that close environment, it seemed very brutal. I don't know if this is as big for Gaia as like she's like, oh my god, this changes everything for her, or if she's going to be used to it and she's going to continue being a turncoat either way. But yeah, so yeah, kind of 50-50 on where Gaia lands, but I'm choosing to believe that like she has reunited with her father, and even though it's still going to be a hiccup throughout the rest of the season, she's going to be partially doing things her own way. I don't think she'll be taking orders from Fury or working side by side with them. I think she'll still be working. I'm gonna do my own thing. I still think she's gonna be working solo for a little bit, but I think this might have changed things a little bit. So it's very interesting. I'm very curious to where she goes. Easily already a fan favorite, but I'm also looking forward to what Gravik is up to. And I'm curious to see how Fury gets out of this one, because most of all, we have met another big character that we forgot to talk about, Olivia Colman.
Yes.
Best actress winner. Great and everything. Best actress from The Favorite. That's where I mostly began to know her from, was like The Favorite. She's the voice in Puss in Boots.
She's fantastic. Fantastically irritating in Fleabag.
Oh, she's in Fleabag. I need to watch Fleabag.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Olivia Colman's always great. And she is like this maniacal. She's a good character-ish. She's a good character in the MI6, but we also learned via the trailer and what we know of her from Fury in this episode that like she's no nonsense as well. She might have like that bubbly personality. Like, oh, Fury, what are you doing here? But we also know like, from the trailer where she was like interrogating the scroll or whatever. Like she's on the good side. She works with MI6. Blah blah blah. But she's one of those characters that like, even though she works for the good side / government, she's gonna be doing whatever she can to get the information to get the job done.
That's the job.
That's the job, right? So I think she's gonna be one of those brutal good guys, one could say. So I'm very curious to see what's up next for her. But I did like her scene with Fury. I thought it was a very cool scene.
Yeah, you definitely felt the history between the two. I think that was true for like every Fury scene.
Yeah,
really felt everyone's history.
Exactly. Either they liked them or they hated them.
It's funny you brought up the art gallery guy. Totally forgot to mention. Like that whole scene felt like Sam was playing very Pulp Fiction. I felt.
Dude, I paused it because there are so many lines where I'm like, just insert cuss word here, and this is Pulp Fiction. I'm gonna give you 1 choice, and 2 better not be a damn lie. I'm like, this is him in Pulp Fiction. It was so great.
He was like, oh wow, Louis 15th chair, and I'm like, this is a tasty burger.
It was very funny. So yeah, you can see early Samuel Jackson popping out there in that scene. But overall, yeah, it was very interesting first episode. We kind of got our lay of the land. We got our different factions, the government, New Scrollers, and then people as in Talos, Fury, and what used to be Maria Hill. So we have a couple different factions, different ideologies here. I'm very curious to see how the end game plays out already. But we have 5 episodes to go. I'm surprised there wasn't another episode dropped. I'm so used to like Disney Plus doing 2 episodes on us or 3
They're
episodes.
usually 8 episodes, right?
Yeah, usually. No.
Oh no, they're usually 6. Yeah.
Usually 6. Falcon Winter Soldier was 6. WandaVision was like 8 or 9.
9.
What else was 6?
WandaVision and She-Hulk were 9. They were the longest.
Moon Knight was 6. Hawkeye was 6, I think.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's usually Mando. That's 8.
Mando's 8. Yeah. But yeah, this was fine. It was a solid episode. I really liked it.
I love the joke with Talos hasn't even with he's over 100. He's like 137 or something, and he hasn't even hit his midlife crisis yet. And he's like, "Oh, what'd you buy for yours? The Avengers."
The Avengers. Ah!
Yeah, but it said so.
It's great. You're right.
It fits so well.
Yeah, I was like, was he 40s in the Avengers?
Midlife somewhere.
He looked about 50. Midlife, yeah, big time. So yeah, solid first episode. I'm very curious to see how it moves going forward. I heard most of the critics are even more jazzed about episode 2. I think they only showed critics the first 2 episodes. I could be wrong. Which again, I hate TV reviews because it's like they show people the first 2 episodes. It's like, now rate this on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like I don't know where this is going.
There really should be like a bar until you get to the finale.
Yeah, most critics or most people that I know, like comparing Nemroff, like they get like 8 out of the 9 episodes, or they get like 9 out of the 10. Like you get everything up into the finale. For spoilers reasons, but like yeah, first episode's not fair really. But either way, solid. Can't wait to see what's up next. We'll be back here next Wednesday to talk about it. But or next week, whenever. We have a movie review. We did a lot of movie reviews last week or 2 weeks ago now with Transformers.
We did 4
Little Mermaid
for 4 hours.
Fast and the Furious. Then we ended on Across the Spider-Verse. So if you want to hear Nathan and I talk for an hour and a half, probably more, about Across the Spider-Verse, hit us up on our last episode. But The Flash came out last weekend to buzzing reviews. Some people calling it the best DC movie of all time. Some people also calling it God Among Men. No, I'm
kidding. James Gunn said
it was. Was he also one of the best DC movies you've seen in years?
He said it was one of the best superhero movies.
That's crazy. But believe the hype.
Believe the hype.
It's crazy how that has
What's the hype?
gone around. Whenever that was starting, and when they got screened at CinemaCon, they were saying believe the hype. I'm like, what hype? James Gunn's hype?
I think it was hype? James Gunn's hype.
Believe James Gunn's the president of DC's hype. This movie's great.
Yeah, I did reach a point where I was like, this man really is just trying to boost them ticket sales.
Big time. It was weird. And then what was funnier is that when Shazam 2 is coming out, they're like, James isn't talking about Shazam as much as he's talking about Flash. So that must mean Flash is way better than Shazam. Cut to now, and I think both are just like fine. But it's just very funny how people assumed like one was better than the other just because of what James Gunn was saying. But anyways, let's talk about
his favorite comic book movie is Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. Now that, James, now you have good taste.
Now that's the James.
That's the James.
Now, Biff, don't con me. We got to do Back to the Future.
We got to, man. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. So I love those. Those were some of the first early movies that Mom showed me. Back to the Future.
This is a horrible mentality, but I keep like wanting to watch like classic movies, but in the back of my brain, I'm like, oh, but if you wait for the commentary,
I know, right?
So fresh.
Like there's so many classic movies I haven't seen. I still, of course, I always bring up Goonies. I still have not seen Goonies. I would love to watch that, but I'm like holding up for the pod. We could fit that in instead of doing 10 Saw movies, but I'm just saying.
Well, we got time before the song.
We do.
Do we? It's 8 movies, 9 movies.
Post mission before Saw, right? We're free for the rest of the summer, I think. Once it's July, but once it's July, we have to get right into the Saw movies. Doesn't Saw start?
When does
in
Saw
October?
Saw
It's like October 10th or something like that.
Start in August.
Saw 10, October 27th. So theoretically, we could do 4 weeks of October, 4 weeks of the month before October, September. That's still 8. So yeah, late August we'll have to start. But between July and August, there's like 4 weeks, like a month. We can do 4 weeks of free reign comics.
We can double up these movies in 1 week sometimes if you want.
Yeah, we definitely could. But before school starts, especially, I'll be definitely free. Before August 15th, I'm free for doubling up. We can do a pod a day. Makes the brain go cray.
Let's go.
Anyways, The Flash came out. Nathan has seen it twice. I saw it once. Luckily, I got it free. Real quick side story. I went to the advanced screening on Wednesday, last Wednesday, and it was pretty packed in my Cinemark for it. But luckily, they expected a lot. They got the tickets for the free screening were like selling out. So they booked, luckily, 2 theaters. And Jalen and I got there, it starts at 7. We got there around 6:20. And there was still like a big crowd. I was like, oh, shit. So you start going into line around 6:45 for one of the theaters. And me and Jalen were in line, just like, that theater's going to be full as hell. I don't want to be in that one. But then one of the line leaders was like, okay, there is another theater there. And Jalen and I turn around and we go to the other theater. And we had like the perfect middle row seats. It was fantastic. Nice. And the second theater, hardly anybody was there either. It was pretty empty. Most of the people were crouched into that first theater. So they were like, lucky you guys. You guys get to space out and have fun with the Flash. It was a pretty tame theater, though. Nobody was like really oohing and awing. It was pretty quiet experience for me. But I liked it. It was pretty. I liked the environment, at least. It was pretty fun. I didn't love the movie. But I had fun with the quiet ambiance of Cinemark.
Well, I didn't go early. I didn't even go opening nights.
Oh yeah, because you had a concert. You were you were out there.
I was rocking out. I was listening to. I got to experience one of my favorite musical artists, Halicine and Lauren Babick. They're wonderful creators here who got their start pretty much on YouTube growing up. I got to meet them, and they're phenomenal ladies.
Wow.
They're so wonderful.
Fantastic.
It's so funny because like I'm staying in line with like other people because like it was the last show of their tour, and they went to go like chill by the merch table to chat with people, so people got in line, and like I'm going in line like getting up. And it's so funny because
Did you get any merch?
I already had merch.
Yeah.
I need to save money to make my way to the Flash. But I support him. And it's so funny because the whole time you're in line, this has nothing to do with the Flash, but you're in line, and every time the person behind you, you ask like, "Hey, can you take a photo?" Sure, and then they go to talk. Hey, can you take a photo?
Oh no,
it's so funny.
But I'm always terrible when somebody's like, "Hey, sir, can you take a photo?" I'm like, "Don't come to me. I'm terrible at taking photos. I'm awful, notoriously awful." So I hate when people do that to me. But anyway,
but it's funny because like the whole time I'm like going up, like thinking about what I'm gonna say, and of course as soon as I get there, my brain goes static.
No, no.
And I'm like, I say it like.
So you're in chemistry.
I say at least 50% of what I wanted to, but again, like they're very nice. Got a photo with them.
How old are they? Our age?
I think they're like late 20s at least.
Okay.
I know one of them is a mom, so.
Okay.
But yeah, they're great. It's funny because initially I wanted to buy one of their VIP packages for like a whole meet and greet segment. But they were out, so I had to like settle for just like standard. And the venue was just small enough that like anywhere you stood would have been great. Mm-hmm. But I was like basically second and a half row in context. Like they're like right there, like that is like such close distance. I was like, this is cool. Also,
that's fantastic. Yeah,
I never go to these. the speakers are here.
Boom.
Oh,
Yeah, you didn't
and
realize how close they were. Yeah.
yeah, they were selling like protective earplugs for $2. I didn't buy them.
You're like, nah, we need those. Yeah.
I'm fine. I think the next day my ears were like swollen.
Oh wow.
But worth
What does it
it.
even feel like?
Well, I mean, then the opening act came out, which was a different artist. They're good too. They had like really intense guitar blare, and as soon as like the dude hit the electric guitar note, I felt it rattle my bones, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be fun.
You're like, I'll be right back. Let me see.
I'm not leaving. This is the best spot I could get. But yeah, it was a fun time.
That's awesome.
The next day I saw the Flash.
Then next day you saw the Flash. What time?
Roughly the same time actually. I saw it around 7:00.
7:00. Nice. Peak movie time. Yeah.
Yeah. I went in, I watched, and it's so funny. I was like, I walked out of the concert like the happiest I've ever been, and then I walked out of the Flash, and I was depressed. I was sad as fuck. Not for the reason you think though. Not.
No,
not
yeah,
because,
yeah. You told me why. Yeah.
Yeah. I genuinely did like the movie.
Over a Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Poor Eric. What does Eric got to do to get you above to get above the Flash?
Hey, I have Wild Uncharted Waters on my Spotify.
Yes.
It's so good. That's like the one song I re-listen on the soundtrack.
Good. Anakin, good.
But yeah, let's talk about the Flash. I think before we actually get into the story, I think let's just go ahead.
Thank you, because I have no idea what the story is. I'm like,
I do. I just want to go ahead and have a discussion about the visual effects of the movie.
Oh wow!
Because instead of just being hindered the whole time, let's just go ahead and address. Now you know me. I don't often have the need to feel to call out visual effects.
When you start off with this is going to be an interesting conversation.
It is because I'll like read, especially Preston's reviews, where he's just like, oh, just inexcusable visual effects in an age of Avatar: The Way of Water. Like everyone's favorite quote, as if anything will ever fucking touch that ever.
James Cameron.
No excuse not to make 6 years with new technology in movies. Which I also get. Like, yeah, some visual effects can be better for sure. For sure. And I never really get bothered by it, like, hell, I can't make this shit. I'm not going to complain that, like, some people aren't reaching the Cameronisms of VFX. But this is one of the first movies where I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. But also, when I did, I was watching it and I was like, oh, that is weird. But then I was immediately just, like, focused on, like, all right, how are we progressing the plot? I wasn't just like, look at it. Look at that baby. That is not a baby.
This wasn't a American Sniper baby situation.
Well, that was just a plain doll.
That was weird.
I think a better one is the Breaking Dawn baby from Twilight is a big thing people call, because
I never even saw Breaking Dawn until I saw it on YouTube. But yeah, it looked very disgusting when I saw it on YouTube at least. I'm kind of with you. Andy Muschietti, director of the movie, came out and said, like, well, it's because of a lot of the Flashpoint scenes. That's his Speed Force. And I think for those Speed Force scenes, not too bad. I
honestly, I like to view it like that. In like my headcanon, it's like it's kind of like when you're like loading a program in a computer until you like activate the program or choose to enter that timeline, it doesn't fully render. So that's kind of like my headcanon while watching.
And I didn't really complain about the Speed Force scene. When I'm watching, I'm like, it looks weird, but the Speed Force is supposed to look weird. But it's everything out. Like, there's no excuse for anything after that, right? Like, the cameos at the end looked weird. The whole Zod fight looked weird.
The Zod fight was okay for me. For a few months, it was like when they got super slow mo. I'm like, okay, well, that's not Michael Shannon, is it?
Not at all. By the way, Michael Shannon, it felt like he didn't want to be there. A lot of his lines felt so dry, especially comparing him to. We just watched Man of Steel commentary, or not you, but you've seen Man of Steel. I've seen a Man of Steel commentary.
A real thespian on screen.
I know he's fantastic. in Man of Steel. He is like delivering every line with sincerity, and
Oh, when he's holding up
it's great.
the dust of the DNA of
Pig,
his people.
the
I
dust of my
have no
people. I have no home.
my purpose. That's what you've taken from me.
It's fantastic. I
I'm like
love that scene.
that is like he's definitely in like the top 10 villains all time. I think for
Easily for me at
superheroes.
least. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Shannon that one. This one felt so dry and hollow of any kind of like sincerity. I didn't really get like the true Zod that I was hoping for in this movie.
Well, he's
But
also like has
yeah,
such small screen time that it doesn't
it doesn't.
bother me too much.
But the small amount of screen time kind of goes into a lot of my complaints with the second half of the movie. I'm like, I needed more Supergirl. I needed more
I
Batman. I
was
needed more
surprised
Zod.
how little Supergirl there was in this movie.
Yeah, I was shocked. You know, she had to carry this press tour on her back because of everything,
Right.
and I'm so happy that she did that. Like,
But at the same time, it's a Flash movie and he gets the primary focus, so it's like that's how
yeah,
it technically should be.
it's how it should be, right? It
Yeah.
is still technically, it still very much is a Flash movie. He has his
I
own
think it's
arc.
just because we are big fans of Sasha Calais as Supergirl. I think she did great.
Big time. And I've become even more of a fan as she showcased how much of a fan she is, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it will be so sad when she's eventually not Supergirl. 'Cause I have a big feeling that she's not. I feel like I have a big feeling that this is the last time we'll see her as Supergirl. Just knowing how much of an idiot WBR is right now.
Evan, have hope.
Hope's crushed.
You know what this symbol stands for? Supergirl.
Supergirl, right? But that movie is so far out that I think James Gunn's kind of hoping that people forget about this movie. I kind of think I really want her to be Supergirl, but like I can easily see her not being the case. But anyways, that's far off from now. In regards to this movie, though, I wish she had more screen time because a lot of the second half stuff kind of revolved around her like constantly dying, and for that to be impactful, I wanted to see her more. Right?
Yeah. Aside from those moments, all of her moments are in the trailer.
Yeah.
They what they do? They dropped like 4 trailers for this movie. They shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. They're pretty good edited trailers, some of them.
I dig pretty much every trailer that they.
There was the best one was like that's like the best one where it's like the post Super Bowl drop where it's like 30 seconds, just like boom, boom.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing. You said the other day before I got to go see it, the "What did you do" line. You said you preferred it in the trailer than the movie.
Yes.
I watched it and I felt the opposite.
Oh wow!
And I did instantly think of you because I was like, oh no, I feel the opposite. I thought I was even more impacted by it because of the context of it.
I felt the context. It kind of goes into the Michael Shannon of it all when he says like the baby, Clark Kent,
infant did
not survive. I'm like, I felt nothing. Like
I felt
because it's off screen. The delivery is so not there for me. It's not supposed to be, right? It's a hard mix that Shane's trying to do there, where it's like you're playing a villain who's nonchalant because he doesn't care about human life or doesn't care about the loss of life, right? He has one goal. That's who Zod is. So I get it, but the delivery just felt so hollow, and I didn't get. And I don't know. I didn't feel that kind of connection between her and Zod. I wanted more of a, and I know it's unfair, but like I kind of wanted a more antithetical arc between those two. I just didn't really get it because I didn't really get Supergirl's ideals as much as I could get. Like in the Man of Steel, you understand Clark's ideals, you understand Zod's ideals because those are his movies. But at least in this one, they could have at least developed Supergirl's ideals more to set up why she was so upset. Granted, yeah, she's upset her cousin died, but I'm just like, I didn't feel the punch as much as like the well-edited trailer was like, oh shit, it blew me away in the trailer.
I personally felt it, and I felt it worked because I was expecting Zod of all people to deliver a line so just like cold and without emotion for that, and I love how instant rage Kara goes into that because I'm also autofilling my experience of Henry Superman and my care for him throughout that. And that's kind of like a big thing is like whenever they do like go into the Zod stuff in the World Engine, I have been such a fan of Snyder's story through the Snyderverse personally, uh, growing through it since 2013, which is wild that 10 years ago I saw Man of Steel in theaters.
Crazy.
And I was pretty like impacted by Man of Steel, especially. And then, when you're growing up in the time where you think like this is the DC universe, you start to get attached to these characters, and especially I love every time they do like points of view of scenes you like, and I especially love the finale Man of Steel. So when BVS opened up with Bruce's point of view, I was like, this is really cool. I dig this a lot. And then we get this one scene with Flash's point of view. It turns out like the next morning he has his powers for the first time. He attempted to try to save somebody. I thought it was.
I liked that a lot. That was and just like Man of Steel, just like BVS, this movie also goes into the destruction of the world engines. The way they flatten humans to like putty, it's very unsettling. And every time you never see the after effect because it's PG-13. But like you can imagine going 50 meters up into the air and getting pulled down at speed of like 100 miles per hour, and you're just splat. And when to see the Flash try his best to save that kid and his father, and he can't do both.
He just cover his eyes, turn him around.
He said, "I'm gonna do my own thing, and I'm gonna save the kid."
Jesus,
I tried to fit it in there, it didn't work. But it's a very sweet scene that he tries to save the kid. And he successfully does, but the father was just, man, it was crazy.
I did have an interesting a thing in the back of my brain whenever because we're doing the final battle in the Flash and the world engine's activated in Metropolis, and it's pounding down, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, there's a second world engine on the other side of the world we're not addressing.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get that, Kara? Can you go get that?
It was always very weird to me. Edgar and I talked about it during a commentary, but like Man of Steel, which I love, it focuses on Clark trying to save the Indian Ocean one instead of the one in Metropolis. When if one goes down, they both go down anyways. And I always think, yeah, because he takes out the one in the Indian Ocean successfully, and the one in Metropolis stops, and that gives time for the military to go in and actually use the bomb to blow it up.
Because I thought it was the thing where like they do need to take out both, and
I thought so too.
Clark's the only one who can make it in time to the Indian Ocean.
And I'm like, because the one it just like it powers down, it's still there, and he still have to blow it up. But yeah, it was weird to me. So in this one, I was expecting them to like factor that in, but the world edges weren't really that big, unless like the first act stuff with the flashback. The second act, less so. But yeah, that all to say, some of the Supergirl stuff didn't work for me. VFX wise, I kind of do agree with you. Again, the Flash point stuff of it all worked for me. Everything else around it, though, I was like kind of iffy on. And it felt like for me, that VFX wise, it kind of diminished as the film went on. I thought it's now a meme. The Flash baby situation was a very cool set piece. I really liked the first act of this movie a lot. It was very fun.
Let's go to the beginning.
Okay.
I think the film starts off like fun, right?
Yeah.
I like the kickoff of it where, hell, right away from the score kicking on to the WB logos of different eras and the lightning passing through. I think the score is great.
I can't tell you the score.
Well, when you hear it, I think
at least Hans Zimmer, the Danny Elfman.
No, but at least in my brain, like what stands out is like Flash's main theme with the piano running.
That's true. That's kind of like the only thing I remember. Yeah.
Other than recycled Danny Elfman stuff.
Yeah. You gotta play the weird Batman theme again. As he commits suicide. That was crazy. You gotta admit, that was weird.
They didn't play the music then.
Bruce! It felt like the Tross Chewie situation. It was very much a Tross Chewie. Chewie, go!
That's not that situation. He actually died there.
which was even weirder. Imagine if Tui actually died in Trust.
Well,
It
it
would
is a
feel
weird
even
situation
weirder.
because he's just like he like goes to blow up, but like it does nothing to the ship. That's the weird bit. He don't know. He old Batman.
You're the smartest man alive. He's supposed to be.
Is he still?
And Gotham is just like it's good now.
I did
it's
like
weird.
that. Like Gotham is now one of the safest cities. Like,
How?
Well, it's been 30 years, isn't it?
Crime just stopped.
There's time.
It felt weird. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go with it, but if you think too hard about it, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Why is Gotham good now? Okay, but
it just is. There's time. There's
is.
time we haven't experienced.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Yeah. Maybe there's some vigilantes in the city doing the job for him. He thinks he's like, there's no crime, and then he looks on the street and it's like chaos. Could be. But anyways, beginning of this movie. Yeah, no, starts off jittery, fun. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's fun. You know, he needs a sandwich. He's late for work. You know, classic superhero antics. But then Alfred calls it. I really was not expecting almost everybody back. Let alone Jeremy Irons still playing Alfred. Good for him.
He's in the trailers and everything. Yeah.
Like as soon as he popped in the trailer, I was like, "Excuse me." Wish they didn't put him in the trailer.
There's probably things he filmed for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No.
Okay.
They brought him in for a day.
They probably brought him in for a day. It's like, hey, Barry, we need you. Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's a cool set piece where he runs over and he helps people at the hospital.
Speed Force looks a lot better. He's not like doing the weird running animation.
Ice skating run.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Well, they joke about it later, which I think is a really funny gag.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole set piece while Batman's trying to take down Falcone's son, I believe it is.
That's Falcone's son?
I think that's what he said.
Oh, wow.
Trying to get a piece of, some glory or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Dumbass rich kid.
He blew up a hospital in the process. Crazy.
Yeah, well, you know.
So there was a bank beneath the hospital? Or what?
A bank. No, it wasn't a bank.
What did he steal?
He stole chemicals from the hospital.
Okay.
Because they address like later when him and Batman are hanging over, if it drops in the water, then fucking
you're right.
City gonna blow up.
The city's gonna destroy itself. I'm like, damn, Alfred, that's kind of dire. Don't drop these, Bruce. You could have told me earlier. Yeah, you could have told me earlier before I pushed his cart off this bridge. But okay. Yeah. Anyways.
But the actual set piece itself, I do think is interesting. Like all the falling babies.
It's insane.
It's a wild set piece.
It's insane, but it's the most comic booky thing this movie could have done. Yeah, and it was really fun.
And I do like the comedic aspect of it, where like he's been running on empty. He really needs to, because that is a critical issue with the Flash, is like his high metabolism.
For sure.
And then like he's going in to save a baby, straight to the vending machine.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a lot of chuckles in the theater. Yeah.
He got a burrito in the microwave, and then my brain was like, does the microwave work outside of space-time?
Yeah. Good point.
But then my brain was like, maybe he like electric. It's like instant. I don't fucking.
Yeah. But like after the situation, he sets it up that like he can't hold people during the Speed Force because they'll, combust really, or it would be bad for them. So like he kind of just like taps them into
the most minimal move is like grab the fabric of your shirt.
Yeah, he doesn't grab the skin; he just grabs the fabric. Yeah. Very cool attention to detail in that scene.
It puts a baby in the microwave.
Puts a baby in the microwave. It's it's a meme now, but like,
I
didn't really care when I saw it.
He threw a bedpan to like stop acid from landing on a baby.
Yeah, that was like, weird.
This could have been so
awful. Bad. Oh my god!
What did it matter if they hit the pavement? With the acid of matters.
Good point.
I do like the set piece though, how they all get lined up neatly to like be pushed on, and like when he presents them, like I too, like the nurse would be screaming hysterically if I suddenly appeared here.
Yeah, going from 50 stories above to like
But also, I feel awful for that nurse having to look after 10 loose babies.
I know, right? Damn.
On the street. I hope somebody rushed over to help.
Yeah. They didn't die in the explosion.
Right.
But yeah. Oh yeah, it was just very fun, very cool. I liked it. This is definitely
Yeah.
probably my favorite part of the movie.
But then we stopped the bad guy thanks to the help of Wonder Woman as well. Fun little cameo.
Wonder Woman. When did that was that in the trailer? I didn't know she was in the movie.
I don't think it was in the trailer. I think her Funko Pop has been floating around, so that was probably a giveaway already.
I did not see that coming. I'm like, oh, she's in this movie, and she's Gal Gadot. She's fine.
I never knew like when people would pop up. So like in the back of my brain, I'm sure I was like Wonder Woman eventually, but I wasn't expecting her just like boom, here she is. Oh, cool.
Me neither. It was very weird.
But
I like the funny gag.
I did also feel like as soon as they appeared, I was like, well, this is it.
Oh yeah. This is their one and out.
I do like the last of the truth gag, especially on Batman. Second.
I liked it. Yeah.
My ego's too proud to say thank you.
Yeah, but there's one gag I didn't like though, where he says like, well, why don't I just put money into the city and crime would go away? I'm like, that's been like the oldest Batman joke of all time, and it's never true. If you put money into Gotham, it's not going to magically heal Gotham. That's not how capitalism works.
If I want to end crime, I should end poverty.
Yeah, I was like, it's funny in the moment, but then if you think about it, you're like, that wouldn't end poverty. That wouldn't end.
That's why I'm not a person in power, because I laughed.
I laughed too. I was like, yeah, but I was like, Jalen, it doesn't really track because people have always used that against Batman. It's like, if Batman's so great, why doesn't he just put money into the city? Because it's like, because that's not how people in power would then spread that money out, and it doesn't all the way go to the people in the bottom, right? Like, that's not how capitalism, money transactions, etc., economy works. You can't just give money to the people. And Joker is still going to be Joker if people have money, right? Yeah. There's still going to be villains around Gotham, regardless of poverty or not.
Yeah. I mean, hell, the dude you just caught, like, he got money.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was a weird joke, but I get it. I get it for the gag. It works.
It's for the Joe Chills of the world.
Exactly. Deep cut. But yeah, I liked everything up to here. Actually, no, I disagree. I liked a lot of the Iris stuff that we get after this as well.
I like it too. I
didn't think we were going to get any Iris. I was surprised. I thought she was out.
Well, I saw her in the trailer, but I thought that night scene was going to be the one scene. She has at least like 3. Mm-hmm. They're small, but she has them. I think it was like enough to like sow the seeds that like if we did live in a world where we would be getting a Flash sequel, I would be excited to see the development moving forward.
See, I tweeted this out, and I'm like, there's a great movie in here somewhere where, me and you were just talking about rom-com. This movie could have been as messy as, like, Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I love. But Amazing Spider-Man 2 at least gives us that romance, that peak romance between Emma and Andrew, which is
jutsu.
Fire style. Peak romance jutsu.
Peak romance jutsu. We call it a sexy juice.
Yeah, exactly. There is that too. The days before, we got the Gwen and Miles relationship, which I think has now superseded Andrew and Miles for me. Or Andrew, Gwen for me. That's a different romance. This is a different multiverse.
He's been on AO3.
You caught me. No, but don't be rash.
Don't be rash. Lose my place.
You're welcome. But I adored the Andrew and Emma relationship in Amazing Spider-Man 2. If this movie just had that amongst this multiverse stuff, I would have been fine with it. But like, I like this potential. There's so much potential in these scenes alone between Barry and Irish. I'm like, I like that kind of chemistry they had going here. It's like, I wish it was developed a little bit more. I wish they had more of a connection, but just the few scenes we have in their apartment or at the end of the movie where she asks him out on a date, like, it's very cute. I like, I love romance in my superhero movies, and I thought this had a potential to be really good. I like these scenes in isolation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a weird thing. Like, I'm going through the movie, and like, I really dig the story. Like let's keep going with it because I'll let you know when I hit my road bump. the whole story, not only with Barry's mom, but his dad as well, is a big prominent factor. It's not just he lost his mom; he lost his dad as well because
He
he was
lost both
framed.
parents that night. Yeah.
Yeah, like Batman. And it's really interesting the whole idea that Bruce developed technology to help his friend Barry, but because his dad never looked up at the camera, the evidence is scrap. It's not going to work, and he still wants to fight for his dad, but his dad doesn't want him to, in a sense, keep running in place. He wants him to.
Don't dig in the past, Barry. You got to move on, which is
I
very
love.
self-sacrificing of his father.
Yeah,
But by
I
the way,
love.
oh sorry, yeah. I just want to say I really like that final scene that Ben Affleck had with
Me too.
Barry. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck has always been very great, in my opinion, as Batman. I thought this is one of his best scenes. He was so good. He was just like, Barry, we are what we are because our scars of the past, whatever.
We are what we choose to be. Now choose.
Now choose.
Now run.
Yeah. Run, Barry, run. But no, I like that last scene a lot. It kind of, in a way, it was very sad that this is like the last time we'll ever see Ben as the Flash or as Batman. And it felt like a great goodbye speech in a way too.
Yeah,
he's like, I am what I am because of the past, and
there's so many. There's so many great lines in it. Like, he tells him don't be your tragedy.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
And it's a great back and forth where Barry says, your tragedy made you Batman, and he says it also made me alone. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna cry.
But that's who Batman is. He has succumbed to that loneliness. That is who he is, and I'm with him. We're just like, don't take that away. Like, I am alone. It sucks, but it's a price I have to pay to stay who I am in the present. And I wouldn't want it all taken away.
And it's a beautiful sentiment he says. And then Barry's like, well, hey, do you want to stick around and get a bite to eat? I'm still hungry. He's like, not this time. But it's like, no, if you both stay, you'll help each other.
Yeah, I know, right? Bond.
And it's such a sad quote that Ben Affleck himself said. It's like he finally figured out how to play the character the best he can, but it's the end.
That's it. That's the end. And like I said, yes, it's a great farewell for Ben as this character. Post or pre whatever new Batman we get. Jensen Ackles? No, I'm kidding. Clooney, which is we'll talk about that. But yeah, it felt it was very fitting for his character. I really liked it. Yeah,
I love that. After Barry discovers the whole time travel, that he does even offer to save Bruce's parents too.
Yeah, Bruce is like, nope,
he's beyond it.
Yeah. This is who I am. This is who I am. Don't take that away, for sure.
Keaton, on the other hand, gets inspired by it. But different iterations.
Let's get nuts. Insert line here.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Still amusing. Although when I watched it in the context of the movie, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it didn't really hit, did it?
No, it's like it's made for trailers. Also, the score is going a little louder than the trailer did, so I almost missed your line.
Dun, 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 let's get nuts. Okay.
Okay, but the actual plot, Iris
Tell me the plot of this movie, Nathan. Help me out.
Well, Barry's not so friends or assholes. I know that.
Well, he's the one late to work.
Yeah, but no, they fucking pick on him.
They're fucking.
They do.
Yeah, they're fucking.
It's like, oh, fucking Barry, always fucking lingering on crime reports.
Yeah, how dare you do your job, right?
Yeah, how dare you fucking care for these victims of these crimes?
I know, right? That was weird.
Which Barry says as much.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, these are actual people, right? I'm not trying to clock off.
Why the fuck are y'all in forensics? Why are you here?
Yeah, right.
So I respect Barry from that point, and the fact that Iris comes into this moment and they have a bit of a connection is really nice. She does say I think I saw you recently, and that made me think of the pet shop scene from I think the Snyder Cut. It was.
Yeah, I think that was a reference there, right?
Yeah, which
he saves her in a split second.
Yeah, which I'm like, okay, cool, canon. But then I'm like,
Wait a
Barry,
second.
you already did time travel stuff in the Snyder Cut. You didn't just discover this.
Isn't that referenced where didn't he reference him going back in time once or like doing something once? I don't
I
know.
don't think so. Like, that's
Was it
the
not
first.
referenced?
Well, he was referencing a movie. Like, Ben brought up a movie, and then Barry was like, yeah, it's like this, but like, I went back a whole day.
Okay.
Um, but we also did skip over a point. Like, while he's on the phone with his dad, he keeps the phone call in his suit because he runs to his old house that I presume somebody else is living in now. But he
Yeah.
starts to flashback about his childhood and with his mom and his dad, and happier times. It's nice stuff. Oh, we forgot another can of tomatoes. Can you go out and get it?
His mom
Sure.
being like Spanish or something? That was weird.
Yeah.
Uh, I didn't see
Sure.
that coming.
Berries mix, I guess.
Very weird
There,
inclusion.
there
I
are
like
white
that.
Spanish people in Spain.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It felt like a weird inclusion. I didn't expect that in Barry's past. The incarnations I've known of Barry, at least.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah,
Snore Allen, is it the name?
Nora Allen. Yeah.
Mm. Well, I really like the dynamic with the Allens. I think their family dynamic is really well handled. I
Really well
really
handled. Yeah.
I really liked the actor they got for they replaced Billy Crudup, I believe.
Poor Billy Crudup. Hopefully the morning show is really paying the bills over there.
It's funny because like I really liked him in I like him as an actor, so I liked him in the role as Barry's dad and
I thought it was really
Snyder Cut.
well. Yeah, very good as
Yeah.
in the center cut. Yeah.
So when I got the news broke that like they were going to recast for scheduling, I was like, oh fuck, that sucks. But I wasn't even thinking about it. Like the new actor they got, I really dug.
I thought he was awful, actually. No, I'm kidding. I thought he was fine. Yeah, he was really good. He gave just the right amount of heart that's needed for that relationship, that father son dynamic to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it worked.
But then the accident does happen, and then lo and behold, Barry has to run out the house, call 911. Tragedy strikes, and then Barry runs off in a fit of emotion after his dad hangs up, and that's when he discovers the whole aspect of the Speed Force there.
Yeah, very interesting that the movie went the route of like it doesn't matter who killed the mom. Very Joe Chill, right? Like it doesn't really matter. I thought it would be revealed that part of me thought by the end of the movie Barry would have to kill his mom to continue the timeline, but
Mm-hmm.
at least he just puts the tomato back. That's his version of doing
He
that,
has to kill his mom. He thought, like physically.
or something, right? Or just to continue. Sorry, mom. Or twist the knife.
Yeah, he
No,
freezes time. I'm sorry. Sink.
yeah, I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, so
This
I don't
isn't
know.
Ellie. this isn't The Last of Us. Um, he's not activated. But yeah, no, it's interesting because apparently, like in talks, that Andy would have for a Flash sequel. That's when he would have gotten to Reverse Flash stuff. That's where they would have done the focus of it.
Okay. Yeah. Part of me wishes. I've always said that as soon as this movie was announced, that like this movie should have been more self-contained, where they could have been able to do like the Iris and Barry stuff if they stuck with like Reverse Flash or Citizen Cold, whatever this name is, like those kind of low tier villains. That'd have been more interesting to me.
Captain Cold.
Captain Cold, thank you.
Citizen.
Citizen Cold, Captain Cold, yeah. Just low tier villain so you can keep it more grounded. But yeah, I
Boomerang,
was
bring him back.
as soon as like the whole Reverse Flash, we knew that Reverse Flash wasn't going to be involved. I was like, oh, so the main bad guy is going to be Evil Barry, which turned out to be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't mind. I think it actually makes a cool like symbolism sense. But yeah, so he has a chat with Iris. That they have another cute dynamic where they're walking around his apartment. It's messy, but he try to clean it up. But shit's falling out. It's fun.
That was fun.
He goes to get the beers.
They had good scenes together. I wanted more of that for sure.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because like I did. I was recently listening to the. I listened to Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin's review of The Flash.
Did Kevin cry?
I don't think he cried. He liked it. Mark didn't. And I was watching it. I was like, oh, it's gonna be me and Evan tomorrow.
I'm Mark Van Norden. Thank you.
And he
Mark's the
brought
go.
up
I love Mark a lot.
Mark is great. I love him.
Mark is great.
He
Yeah.
he specifically brought up a point where it was like, it's weird that you focused on the canned tomatoes, but not the dude who actually stabbed your mom. And I was like, oh, don't do this to me, Mark. Don't break my brain. But also, hold on, because now I'm fucking thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure they addressed that because Barry's trying to minimize, too much like blatant contact, so he's trying to do like the minimal butterfly effect. So
I got that. Like,
yeah,
again, I figured like when they're talking about changing things back to normal, I'm like, yeah, you could go to the guy who literally killed his mom, but I think the canned tomato is like the safest route.
Yeah, it's less consequential. Like you're just change a little thing.
Just changing one little thing. Because if I kill the killer, then that changes it. That could have more far-reaching things, right? But like canned tomatoes is very small, and that could, save everything.
Yeah,
yeah. I think because like keeping the canned tomatoes, he doesn't have to go to the store. The person that bars into their home, would he just not go to the home anymore?
Well, I think it's the situation is like Nora's home alone, and that's easier target. But if like his dad is also
the guy home, the guy was like scoping out to see if the dad left or something.
Presumably, I mean, if it's reverse flash, it probably doesn't matter. But if it's
was it supposed to be reverse? Has Andy talked about this? Who the killer is supposed to be? I thought it was just some average guy by the end.
Apparently, he did, but they didn't. It was all going to be addressed in the sequel.
Like you said Andy said it's reverse flash?
Yeah, like they were gonna like reveal and get into all that in the sequel. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Because I feel like this story took reverse flash out of it.
Yeah, it made less of
the way the story is told. It can't be reverse flash anymore. Because it felt like it had to be. What?
Isn't the crux of Reverse Flash in Flashpoint story that they've already been longtime rivals? So, he goes back and does that event to, have the ultimate effect on him to ruin Barry's life. Because if Barry tries to stop it, then, his timeline's fucked, so he loses. But also, if he doesn't stop it, he lost his mom, and he loses either way.
Exactly, in that way, and it helps with Reverse Flash's creation, I think, in the process, right? I think Reverse Flash isn't created without that pivotal event as well. Because if Barry's mom doesn't die, Barry never really becomes the Flash, and if Barry never becomes the Flash, Reverse Flash has nobody. Abar Thawne's version of Reverse Flash idolized the Flash, and if the Flash never happened, there's no Abar Thawne. So that event has to happen so that's why in Barry season 3 or 4 you see Barry being like
Barry season
3 whatever Barry the Flash and Barry
be careful.
No, but
motorcycles
great episode. But one of the Barry's Flash seasons, Barry's like, don't save the mom because this has to happen for everything to be sense. But that all being said, I don't think because then if you try and squeeze a third character into that complex series of events in the Reverse Flash, I don't know how that fits because I feel like that would have to be brought up in this movie.
Yeah, I started looking up stuff about the Flash, like in terms of initially I was looking up stuff for Barry's mom, for the Flash movie, and then I did like started seeing clips from the show, and I think I saw a fucking clip where like the Speed Force takes the form of Barry's mom to try to like sway him a certain way, and I'm like, this feels gross.
Wait, say it again.
In the Flash show, I'm pretty sure like the Speed Force itself takes the form of Barry's mom to talk to Barry to like sway him a certain direction. And I'm sure it's purposely meant to like feel gross, but I'm like, this feels gross. Like, I shouldn't do this. It's still there.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't remember that from the show at all. Yeah, maybe that's a later season.
I think it is. Am I here? You hear me?
Yeah, I see. You're good.
Okay, I think I lagged for a second. But uh, yeah, let's back on topic though. Barry does prevent it. He adds the extra can of tomatoes into the shopping cart, and then it's really a touching segment when he's like running forward into the future and he's seeing like all these memories that he never actually had with his parents, with his mom especially, which is really cool. But then Dark Flash does show up out of nowhere and sort of pushes him into one of the timelines. He's too soon, as it were.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, it's very interesting that Dark Flash. He became Dark Flash. I thought it would be pivotal around Barry's mom, but it isn't. It's all about what we see later with Supergirl and Batman.
Let's Barry
Which,
himself, ultimately.
yeah, but it's Barry trying to reverse the Supergirl Batman deaths,
Right?
correct?
No, I meant I meant in the sense that like in Dark Flash pushing Barry into that timeline, it creates Dark Flash in the first place.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all makes sense there. And the more I think about it now, going back a little bit, I guess Reverse Flash still could work. Yeah, because Dark Flash Barry, Evil Barry, is just like continuing to like f up the timeline at a future time in terms of like Supergirl and Batman, not
Mm-hmm.
the mother's death. So the Reverse Flash could still fit in there. So yeah, I take back what I said earlier. Reverse Flash definitely still could work. I didn't think about it too hard enough. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, Barry gets put back into this new timeline, and that's where he meets his mom in the Flash.
In the Flash, he he meets his mom. His dad's there. Okay, which double great. Like my mom's alive. My dad's not in prison.
Yeah.
Everybody's here, but they think I'm around 18 and freshman year of college. They think I look older. They like, what are you doing? They doing to you over there? Funny stuff like that. And then he sees himself walking outside, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Goes grab him, tries to explain, and then back and forth as it go. It's revealed that okay, you have a date with Iris. That's interesting. That didn't happen before. Wait a second. Today is the day I'm supposed to get my powers, but you're not interning at the lab. You need to get these powers, otherwise I might not get them.
Did
I
this
might
feel
not be
weird to
there.
you at all? How Barry didn't understand the concept of time travel at first? Because Barry is talking like everything was supposed to have already happened. He's thinking in like the one
The one
straight
linear
line.
timeline.
One,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it took like 20 minutes later for him to finally understand the multiverse of it all. And I feel like Barry should have.
Sure.
I feel like anybody now at this current day and age should know like if you change something, you create a brand or a different line of spaghetti.
Well, his soul mentality is like the Back to the Future logic of like a one linear timeline that you have to resort to.
Yeah.
Like in the sense he was expecting to run back to his present time and like fill in the blank that he should be in. Obviously, he didn't get there, so that's why he's like, "Oh, hey, that's not good."
Yeah, I mean, it felt so obvious to me. I mean, granted, I've seen so many times storylines. I'm like, Barry, if you do
Yeah.
this, your powers kaput, everything else kaput. You'll get what
Mhm.
you want, but like at what cost?
And I mean that's why at like the very beginning when he's like trying to like get like he tackles his other self, he covers his face trying to ask him what year it is, trying to get info.
Yeah,
But obviously that doesn't last.
not at
And
all.
things started falling apart. But yeah, I do like the segments of them going and like bonding essentially. Uh, Going to give him his powers, not telling him, yeah, you gotta get struck by lightning, or rather, you gotta have chemicals pour on you from being struck by lightning.
Chemicals poured on you while getting struck by lightning. It's gonna hurt big time.
Which,
Um,
if I was Barry, I think I would have just been like, okay, yeah, chill here, or don't. I have the super speed; I could just plant you there.
Yeah, right. I could just take you there by force if I have to. So yeah, it felt weird. This dynamic between Barry and Barry too is kind of important. I don't know if it really worked for me. Like, they have some funny dialogue, but overall, I didn't. With a lot of the characters in this movie, I didn't really feel the connection. I didn't really feel their dynamic as strongly as I wanted to. They have some funny lines together, but emotionally, I didn't really connect with these two with their dynamic. as much as is needed for the finale to even work. Where Barry cares so much.
I started to feel the deeper vulnerability between them two during the Batcave argument.
Okay.
Which I think is personal. Like the whole ride is, Barry 2 is just like, oh, this is wild. Whoa, what? It's powers. This is insane.
Our children are going to want to see this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, our older Barry is like, he's more experienced. He's like, this is bad. Like, not only wrestling with like the gravity of the situation, but also the hindrance of looking at himself being so ungrateful, having not experienced the loss he did and just taking it for granted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which he wouldn't know any better because he doesn't know that
he doesn't have
that exists.
He doesn't have that loss. So like, how would he supposed to feel something that he doesn't know? The other Barry has already felt.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love the segment where like he has his stuffed monkey where it's like to the second Barry they're like he has so many of these it doesn't matter, but to Barry himself this is all he has.
What are you doing? This is a monkey.
Yeah, but I get it.
Yeah. I get it. Felt again. Some of those scenes felt goofy to me, but I do get it. I do get it. Part of me, maybe it's the delivery, because I get the sentiment, which goes for a lot of the stuff towards the second act, where it's like I get the sentiment, but some of the delivery doesn't really work or track for me. Because again, I understand that connection that he has with his mom. He does all things for his mom. But the way he's like verbally yelling at this guy who has no clue about what's going to happen.
I would understand it more if it was like a random stranger, but I think because he's literally like looking at
talking to Barry.
Reflection of himself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which because I imagine because if you ever like live through something that you feel like you have existing mistakes of, I'm sure like you mentally argue with yourself like why didn't we do this? Why is it things this way? So
Yep.
But we get the powers and I like the visual aid that like the lightning strikes through our Barry, essentially like taking the power out of him and transferring it over to the second Barry.
Yeah. Who has to learn can't run naked or can't run with normal clothes.
And stuff like that, like the first I always love like first time using power scenes, exploring them. It's always fun. Catastrophic, the way he ran about it.
Going into people's homes, going across streets. Yeah, not great, Bob.
Accidental. Stole a dude's pizza slice. So
I mean, he told the guy like calm down. The guy like, goes across Star City, wherever they're at. Central City. And what's Star? Oh yeah.
That was confused because he works at Star Labs, but he's from Central City.
Weird. But yeah, so yeah, it was very funny scenes for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, they go through and then they're trying to uncover the history. Well, first and foremost, you get the powers, then it's the next day, and it's like, okay, well, this is the flash ring. All right, borrow this in the meantime, just so you have something that you don't burn clothes up for when you need to run. And then, Zod's here. Oh, well, okay. That's fine. We'll just we'll go find Superman, my friend Superman. He's got this. He did it before. He'll do it again.
So, when it's later revealed that Zod killed Clark as a baby,
yeah.
When Zod comes down here, this is after he already killed Clark, right?
Yes.
So what is he waiting for? Is he waiting for Supergirl?
Yeah, in the context of this universe, Kara is the one whose DNA is carrying the codex instead of Cal.
So he's like, when he's like, you know what I'm looking for. He expects Earth to turn over Supergirl.
Yeah, they think.
Okay.
They're hiding her, which one of their factions is just not America.
Yeah. Okay, because I was kind of confused by that. I was like, if he was looking for Superman and then he's literally he already killed Superman, then who was he waiting for? But yeah, okay, I guess he was waiting for Supergirl.
Yeah. But yeah, in this context, they go to like do some research. Like, okay, we're gonna need some help. All right, my friend Victor, what's he doing? Oh, he's playing football. Oh, fuck, he
he's
has
doing
a
good.
life.
Yeah,
he's doing. Fuck, he's doing good. God, see, now I'm like wondering, like, what the fuck was this movie when it was supposed to be Barry and Victor as like the buddy
Not
duo?
were they even going to do a Flashpoint at that point? I don't think they were.
I don't know. It's weird how they've shifted from the idea of like we're gonna roll with Barry and Victor as best buds to Barry and Arthur being buds.
I know, right? Yeah.
But look up, not there. Wonder Woman, go to look her up, not there. I don't know what the context of that is. Is she even still around? Is she?
I
Just
think
not?
she said she was just like a museum person.
No, it was just like it was a random magic act that was off-brand. It wasn't Diana at all. So it's like, did she even leave that mascara? What happened?
Probably not. Yeah, that's weird.
Was she molded from clay?
Did she meet Chris Pine?
Is he safe?
Is he safe? Yeah,
Is
no
he
idea.
And yeah, as far as Superman goes, there isn't a Superman. There's plenty of Clark Kents in the world, but none of them are ours because he did.
Dead and gone.
But there is a Batman out there that they got to go find. Also, I wanted to talk about the gag because I thought it was funny. They keep bringing up Back to the Future, but this universe's Back to the Future is played by Marty McFly is played by Eric Stoltz, who was originally cast as Marty McFly.
Yes.
Before they recasted him, so they were like, "Oh, what the hell?" And I love the different degrees because they were like, "Yeah, no, he's played by Michael J. Fox from Footloose. No, that's Kevin Bacon.
That was great
from Top Gun." And now I'm like wondering what happened to Tom Cruise.
Yeah, what was Tom? Yeah, who's the guy in Mission Impossible movies? Oh, you mean Harrison Ford? Like, oh shit, that'd be great.
No, he's Indiana Jones. Oh, you mean fucking
Henry Selick?
Henry Selick, yes.
I was like, holy shit,
this is dangerous.
That was some great recasting gags.
It reminded me of, I don't know if you ever seen Last Action Hero.
No.
That's with the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he's a movie star. I think he's literally Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movies. But he, as a character, is like brought into like the real world, and because of that, the movies he starred in aren't his movies anymore. So like they go to like a Blockbuster, and like there's a cutout for Terminator 2, but instead of it being Arnold, it's Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator.
Oh, that's amazing.
And everyone was like, no. What happened?
I can watch that actually here. I just finished watching both Terminators last week. I'm like, man, I miss Arnold.
Both, all two.
The two good ones.
Dark Fate's pretty good.
I like Dark Fate. Yeah, I must say I like Dark Fate. And Terminator 3 is underrated. Anyways.
All tragic endings though.
Very much so.
But
so what happens next?
We go to Wayne Manor.
Let's go to Wayne Manor. They get nuts.
They do get nuts.
In the kitchen,
long-haired,
barefoot, long-haired, horrible wig, Michael Keaton. Yeah, weird.
He walks out like, I don't know why you guys are here. Something to do with Spider-Man, I think. And
did they say Spider-Man?
No, I'm referencing the horrible Morbius and Gridson.
Oh god! Oh my!
I don't know what I'm doing here. Something to do with Spider-Man, I think.
That happened. Oh
Hope the food's better in this joint. Fuck, dude. I'm so. I do not hate any end credit scenes. I loathe that end credit.
That one's bad.
Oh my god!
I remember watching that. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't. It felt like they filmed a car commercial. It was that bad.
I will never get over it that they're like, oh yeah, the Vulture's very resourceful, so he was able to make more wings. Like, motherfucker, there are no Jatari technology in the Morbius universe.
That was the half-assed bad. Hopefully that's never referenced ever again.
I don't know. Like, it's for this reason I need to know what the end credit scene of Kraven's gonna be. I have.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the Kraven trailer. Maybe next time if you have time.
It's a trailer.
It's fine. People are like, oh, this actually looks pretty good, guys. No, it doesn't. Stop.
I think the Red Band trailer looks better than the normal one. But
he chewed a nose off. Oh, fuck off.
I think the action. Terrible. I think the action could be fun. He's fucking slinging bear traps on people's faces. Like, sure.
That seemed pretty.
The story itself, though, nah.
The story looks so bad. So bad.
It's so fucking funny that he's like.
I will see this movie though, because I want to make more than a Flash.
Me too. It's so fucking. Come on. It's so fucking funny that he's like, "Oh, my dad puts evil in the world. I take it out," and then the trailer has the audacity. Villains aren't born. They're made. I'm
Who
like, what do
made
you
this
mean?
trailer? Who made this trailer? I was like, you know
You
what?
don't know what villains are, Sony.
That makes no sense. Venom is a villain. They're all villains. Stop it.
You know his brother's supposed to be a chameleon.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mm,
They're both like Russian-esque, right?
mm.
Eastern
Aaron Taylor
European.
Johnson got no accent.
No accent. Maybe that'll grow. But maybe it's the last scene of the movie with him in the office. I'm glad a lot of people caught that the him in the office is pretty much the last scene of the movie. It feels
Oh
it
no!
feels very
Is that
last
the end
scene.
credit scene?
It feels very.
Is he gonna cross over a list and it's gonna be like Michael Morbius, Peter
I
Parker?
think so. Because
Oh no!
when I watched it, I immediately caught. I'm like, that seemed very last sceney to me. Like I can just tell, like, hey, who are you? Boom. I'm supposed to be Craven. Dun, 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 dun. He has to grow into the character that we know.
They had the audacity to drop that movie like right after probably the better Craven story in the game.
It's crazy. I know, right before, yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. Wow. Anyways,
back to Flash though. We talked about, man. He explains the multiverse via spaghetti, which I kind of like the idea of like explaining these intersecting timelines. Like some can run congruent, some are just random jumbles.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, easy. Makes sense. Yeah.
Mark Bernard didn't like that either.
What?
Mark Bernard didn't like that either.
Oh, the spaghetti explanation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simplified as hell, but you know,
sure.
It's not as interesting of an explanation as like, you know, it's been floating around the one on the TV show with Wesley Shipp. There's a great conversation that he has with Barry at a coffee shop about like the intricacies of the multiverse, and that's much more interesting. This one felt more. I think it all come down again with. I keep saying it for this movie, but execution. I can see why some people didn't like it because it felt very half-assed and very like simple. But I think it's kind of necessary because most of the regular audience doesn't really know what's going on here. So it's like, hey, some are mixed, some are different. That's kind of all you really need to know. It gets like the nitty gritty. That's kind of it. We can walk away. So I didn't really mind it.
It does feel like we always need one scene that describes like what is this multiverse time for everybody's dad.
You kind of need it. You can't just assume, or else you'll be like Barry, where you assume everything's Back to the Future. That's like the most popular movie ever. I mean, Avengers Endgame did just come out.
Endgame was like, is it like Back to the Future? And they're like, stop.
It's not. Different branches. If you create something, you create an automatic different brand. Across the Spider-Verse is breaking box office records, and that's also branches, right? So,
Tell the writers that, you know.
It's still weird. Yeah.
It's weird that they wrote it and they don't get it.
They don't get it. Like, it's all one timeline. No, it's not.
You wrote that it wasn't.
You wrote that it wasn't. That's not. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't want to think about it. I get a headache again.
I will die with that chip on my shoulder. Anyway. Are they going to write Secret Wars?
2019 discourse was wild. There was the Avengers Endgame discourse with the whole multiverse thing. Did Cap really stop being a hero for 20? Yeah, it was weird. So
yes.
There was the Cap discourse. There was a Game of Thrones discourse. There was Trust discourse. 2019 was. How did we survive that year, man? That was a rough year.
It's Frozen 2 discourse, I'm sure.
Frozen 2 happened. Yeah.
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4. Lion King. Jesus Christ!
Oh, these movies made $1 billion.
Movies, yeah. You know who's not having discourse? Hollywood executives.
Disney's best year. Holy shit!
Disney's best year. Yeah. Fuck.
Let's launch Disney Plus that year.
Yeah. Spaghetti Gate happened.
We go into the Batcave. We're exploring, trying to figure out what's up. They get into an argument, which we addressed, and then. You're right. And then Barry talks to Bruce through the camera, just trying to sway him over.
I like that scene. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. I dug it a lot. And they reminisce about his parents there for a second. Then he does the retinal scan, decides to get back in the game.
Yeah.
And then he actually ends up doing the research of just like finding the space anomaly around a certain time that would just conclude like, oh, it's where Clark's ship landed. At the Arctic. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Cool. What could possibly go wrong? And then they discovered, and this is very much in line with I don't know exactly. Was it the Flashpoint timeline where or Superman Red Sun, where it's like, what if Superman got captured by Russians, kind of thing.
I think that's Red Sun. Yeah,
Red Sun, also a very good animated movie.
Mm.
And it's kind of had like a similar aesthetic to it, where it's like a captured Kryptonian in like this. In here's the Arctic, but like in the other one, it's like Russia.
Mhm.
So yeah, in a very cold environment per se.
It was Russian
and then,
soldiers
and then yeah, Russian soldiers. Oh, there are okay. And then
in the movie. Yeah,
the red lights and like it felt very much like a Red Sun. So it was very cool connections there. And then we meet the best character in the movie, Sachiko.
Yeah, she's locked up, similar to Superman in the Flashpoint storyline.
Yeah. Wait, and they locked her out, and she's weak because of just
lack of exposure to some.
Got it. Okay.
Sunlight. Yeah, they constantly keep her hidden away underground.
I wonder how they figured that out. Sunlight keeps her strong. They just got lucky.
Maybe.
Yeah, we just kept digging, and she got weaker. Would you look at that? That's crazy.
Every time we opened the window, she kept trying to break out.
Yeah, we set that up real quick. Anyways,
right. Put her in the ball.
Put her in the pit. Pull the lever.
But it's interesting. If you would have told me my least engaging parts of the movie were about Michael Keaton's Batman, I would have not necessarily believed
This is where I was kind of dozing off a little bit. Yeah.
Well, not specifically here. Well, maybe. I mean, yeah. I dig this stuff. I like that he's fighting classic style. He's using old tech that he's made. I like the fact that like you think he's about to pull out like big dent there and his fucking measuring tape doing basic math to try to map out. Because he's a simple man. He's not like big universe brain Batman.
Oh. Yeah, I forget a lot of these scenes because I remember like dozing off a little bit, but then I remember she got herself freed, and then I just remember the trailer scenes where she let her do the work, and then she like bats him like,
"We try not to die."
Every line, it's a meme now, but every line of his is just like a one-liner. It's a zig, it's a zag.
Which I'll say in the context of the movie, I like it.
Yeah, it's fine in the movie, but yeah, still.
It's such a trailer line.
Every line is a trailer line. Want some help? Let's get nuts. We try not to die.
I think what's amusing is like when it comes to Michael Shannon or Keaton, like damn well they don't understand a fuck about this plot.
Not at all. Zero. Zip. Nada.
No, not at all. But they're here and they're doing their best. And god damn it, they made it in a way where it passes.
I didn't know it didn't really work for me. Yeah,
that's why I said it passes. I didn't say
they got a C-. They pass.
What Drake saying? Drake and Josh praise these.
Oh wow. So I mean, yeah, both him and Michael were just like, I don't want to say as far as Michael was definitely phoning it in, but Keaton was he was fine. Yeah, he was fine.
Keaton genuinely he brings.
I think he had fun.
Yeah,
I think he had fun. More fun than Shannon.
I think he looks good in the batsuit still.
Yeah, he fit. Yeah, he wasn't like he didn't look out of shape.
Again, remembering that this batsuit
most of it was CGI action, but
sure. But also remembering that like that batsuit has no turnable neck, so he's just like, which has always been like a funny thing to watch.
Did they not fix it for 30 years later? They probably did, right? They didn't.
No.
Oh, you never know, right?
Even when like Barry 2 has to make the custom suit, he slices the goddamn thing off so that he can actually turn his neck.
True. But yeah, they rescue her, and then they bring her back.
Yeah.
This is where I was lost a little bit. What happened in these scenes? It's like because we don't know much about Supergirl up to this point after they free her, but I wanted more of a connection between her and Barry. I just didn't really get that. I felt like it was very quick. Her dynamic with Barry. It didn't feel as strong as I wanted it to be.
It's very quick. I do like the parallel that they address. Like as soon as they save her, he's running. He's like, "I got you," which then she reflects later when she's flying him up to the lightning bolt.
Like, you didn't have to save me, and he's like, "Well, I did because you were. You just needed help.
You needed help."
Yeah.
Batman was ready to let her die. He was walking off.
Yeah.
That's my Batman. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, they take her back. They try to catch her up to speed with stuff. Take her up to the sunlight where she gets more power. But then she's like, "Oh, hey, everything's loud. Never mind, it's fine."
Yeah, it's like she just succumbs to it. Like it's cool.
Like
It's fine.
we really don't have time to just let things breathe, do we?
It's movie. It's 2.5 hours, but it's still it moves at a quick pace, which is really weird.
Yeah. Is it like? Do we like? Is it because we've seen it? We don't want to retread. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm fine if we do.
Would it add more depth for a
Zod
character? What?
Zod got used to the atmospheres pretty quick when he was exposed.
He did, but at least we saw it more. It felt more more believable, more genuine in Man of Steel. This one felt like boom, boom, it happened. Anyways, I'm not gonna help you out, right? Like she refuses to help them, right? At first.
Humanity in general.
Or humanity in general. And then she likes humanity?
Well, she went to go fly and observe what was happening with Zod. I don't think she intervened with the fight. Zod saw her.
I forgot this happened.
But then we cut back to the Barry scene and we're setting up the whole lightning bolt. It wants some help. Lightning bolt stuff.
Yeah, good old Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. And then she comes back, she helps fly him up, and then after Barry
great scene. It looked really cool. You know, we see it on the trailers. Yeah. That looks very cool with the water coming down.
Oh, it's really great. Even like before the gnarly look, like after he was struck and it didn't work, and he's just like, go again, but the circuit's fried, doesn't work. And other Barry's like very concerned about it, like he's worried about his friend of himself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Kara flying him up, it looked great. The rain, everything, I got you. And it's just like the blinding light of the lightning bolt taking over, bring him down. He starts healing. It's really cool. And then they do have the conversation. Like, I guess at a point she did start to stop to think about Barry's. Well, the fact that Barry, saved her. Batman was like, "Let's go."
Yeah. Cool. It felt again. This whole scene, I'm like, I would have liked a 3-minute longer conversation between them. Just. A little bit more of a conversation because this really changes her whole character in a sense. Like she becomes more heroic automatically.
I do like that.
Yeah,
him immediately addressing that, recognizing that her symbol means hope from her home world. Mm-hmm. Because he did know Clark for real.
Yeah. So he's coming out as somebody who like kind of knew somebody who was the ideal version of who she should be, and that kind of like helps her character out a bit. But then, then they go, and then this is the last act, right? They go to face off against the big bad here. So,
Yep. We got Flash, we got Bat Flash, we got Batman.
And it's been said, of course, but like I wanted a more interesting background for this fight.
Okay.
I mentioned this with Edgar. We were watching Man of Steel. I'm like, what happened to fighting around big cities? Like. And I'm a huge Shang-Chi defender. I defend the one in Shang-Chi because I think it's more gripping because the father-son thing, even though they are around gray rocks, it's cool because I like the father-son dynamic and then the whole dragon thing. I like it. And you have Tao Lo, whatever. It's a lot more mystical. This one, it's just dry land and alien ships. It feels much more dry and hollow.
The most color you get are from the two Barry's lightning bolts, yellow and blue.
Exactly.
Which I think whenever they like burst like that, it looked great when they were doing the team up runs. I thought I was engaged. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Flash, baby. Mm-hmm. It was fun.
It was cool. And then, but yeah, I think the most cool thing, again, we mentioned it up top, but like Supergirl confronting Zod, this is where Zod reveals like, yeah, I killed Barry when he was still in the crib. I tore him limb from limb. No.
Barry.
No, he cow. And baby cow. And then apparently they tried to look for the
codex.
The codex, yeah. It didn't work. Then she has a codex, and then she gets stabbed here, right? Or they fight, then she gets stabbed.
They fight first. She beats down on him with the missile, throws the missile at his face, and as she's gonna go in to finish the job, he stabs her through the chest. Then they bring out the device to stab into that hole and extract the codex. And she's dying at that point. Also, simultaneously, Keaton Batman, he's like,
Tell me what he does, Nathan. Tell me what he does.
Well, his ejector seat ain't working.
Mm.
And he's like, well, he's not going to go out, without a bang, essentially. And he shuts off the comms before Barry could explain.
And then he just dies unceremoniously. It's hilarious.
It didn't do anything. It's like, oh no.
It's hilarious. Bruce! No!
No!
Like Omega, no!
And then it got interesting that Barry too was like, well, we can fix it, right? Like, you did it before. He's like, you're not fast enough. Are you sure? He tries for it anyway, and he fucking gets there. And even Art Barry was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I guess you got it. And they try again, and it seemed to work. Like immediately, he's like, "There's a force field on that thing, Bruce. Don't do it." He's like, "All right,
thanks." It felt so goofy. Okay, whatever.
And then they go back to like the fight with Supergirl, which it was an interesting set piece. Like it was really good. They did showcase her like help the civilian like ease down that helicopter to save them, and then Saw just fucking punched through them and killed them.
Anyways, yeah, I'm like, okay.
But I get it. Like it also like led to frustrate her more during the fight. Like, God damn it, you fucking murderer!
Yeah, they keep finding a way to kill our heroes.
But I like that scene because then like when they double back to do it again, she's gonna go burst in, but then Flash is making the tornado.
Yeah.
Which disorients not enough, but then it doesn't work because then he fucking power drives her down, and they get her again. And was Keaton's also his second death? He's attacking the big dude, and I'm like, don't.
What are you doing? Come on.
Initially, he was shooting at him, and I do like the sequence of attacking the jet and the way he ejects. I love his gliding effects; they look really cool.
Really cool, yeah.
Very Arkham games. And then he's crawling around him and planting bombs, which is a cool effect. But I'm also sitting here like, my man, he's Kryptonian. You can't. Unless you got kryptonite, you can't.
Also, I assume you just didn't know the capabilities of their healing or whatever. It was weird.
None of this world understand. Hell, even Barry, who's like not usually around, I'm sure he's not too privy to it.
Mm-hmm.
But he did take him down. I think no, he didn't. No,
I don't think so because we think he did. It's a fake out.
Yeah, we fake him out because then they fucking they emperor him later. But Batman dies. Barry has that moment, just like, we can't bring you back, can we? And Bruce is absolutely like, you already did. They brought him back into like being that hero.
He's a hero again.
Yeah.
You thought that worked?
Well, I got it the second time I saw it. The first time I was like, you mean like back as in the movie?
I'm back in the movie. Let's get nuts one more time.
I'm
back, man. Yeah, this whole ending, it didn't really work for me. Like you're supposed to believe like he injected the heroism back into him, but if Gotham was fine, then he's fine. But anyways, it didn't really work for me. I was like, okay, cool. He's back to being a hero. He affected these heroes in some way. Again, I wish that dynamic was stronger if we had more time with them together without this whole crazy battle multiverse stuff. But regardless, yeah, this is where Evil Barry begins to become Evil Barry. Like keep going back and back and back and back.
And I really like the sequence for the development of them. Barry's coming to the realization like this isn't something we could do. Like no matter what we do, this world dies today.
This is a canon event.
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah.
Batman dies today. In broad daylight.
Yeah. Can you feel the sun today? Come on.
Can you feel the sun? All right. I hate you.
You're welcome. So yeah, this isn't working out.
I don't have a laugh box today.
You're welcome. So yeah, this is where Barry's like, F you, I'm gonna keep trying this again and again. And this is where
I like the progression of it because initially he's like, well, hey, can you take a second? And it's like, oh yeah, dude, of course. Like that's the point, right? We have all the time in the world. He's like, no, that's not what I mean. I was like, okay, let's try again. And he runs by himself. And he's like, oh, hey, you good? Let's go again. He goes again. It's like, what, are you just standing here watching?
And at this point, he's starting to have shrapnel in his body, right?
Yeah, before that, when they fight, he goes up against Feora, I believe, and takes her out. because
yeah,
it phased through, but it didn't phase all the way. But then, yeah, as he's fighting, he's garnering more and more. And I like the idea that like all of these ripped Kryptonian metals are what's carving into his new suit that he eventually becomes in Dark Flash.
mm-hmm.
That was a cool aesthetic.
Pretty cool.
And kind of like, a visual representation of like the corruption,
Yeah, like Bruce talked about like these scars made us who we are, Barry, at the beginning of the movie, and this guy is literally garnering those scars into his body.
Yeah.
So it's a very cool connection there.
Yeah, and so he keeps trying again, and they get into the big. I like that they get into like the big argument where he gets very angry and he's like, "No, nobody dies. You can't just go back and kill. Well, you're gonna go kill mom? No." And
I thought he was. That was interesting, right? When he brought that up, I'm like, oh, like the mom's gonna factor in here, but it doesn't. But yeah, it was very close.
it was, yeah, it's interesting. It's sort of like a two-way closed loop that they have to do. But I do like, even like in that argument, he does sort of like take a step back to like really stop and think. And he's like, he's still desperate. He's like, all right, let me just try one more time. And he goes again. And during that time, that's when Dark Flash shows up and messes up Barry, traps him. Then Barry 2 returns, and then we get the whole exposition of what's going on.
Like, who's this?
Yeah, right. The worlds are starting to collide, and then we start to see different eras of different DC heroes, primarily 2 heroes.
Yeah, this is the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness all over again. Where people are like, we're gonna have so many cameos, and I thought we were gonna have so many cameos in Flash, and I caught like Nicolas Cage, Christopher. That wasn't even Christopher Reeve. Like, who was the guy that came back again?
Christopher Reeve.
Was it was Reeve? Okay, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah. There was an OG actor for the Superman serials whose last name was also Reeves.
Gotcha.
And then they showed Christopher Reeve Superman, as well as that era's Supergirl, because they did make a Supergirl movie back in the 80s. So it's like, okay,
CGI
cool.
recreations.
CGI recreations.
Love it.
I wasn't bothered.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done it, but like this is the part of the movie where I'm just like, who is this for? I mean, I guess there's a lot of people that were excited about it, but I'm like, it felt, besides it being, disrespectful to the actor that died, but it's like, it didn't really ring like awesome to me as much as other cameos. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my brother about this. I'm like, because a lot of Flash defenders were like, well, people saw No Way Home or Across the Spider-Verse and they love those cameos. What's so different here? And I think thematically, the cameos that we saw in, for example, Across the Spider-Verse fit more thematically, and they fit more like they affected, whether they fit thematically or they were for comedic bits. Like a T-Rex Spider-Man isn't something I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. But it's funny, it's cool, right? Or you could be like that, yeah. Like
T-Whip is
the best. But for those cameos, I think they fit a certain purpose, whether for comedic wise or they affected Miles' arc, or they're for meta purposes. This one, Barry meeting Christopher Reeve Superman, it just felt like, okay. It didn't feel like anything. It didn't feel.
Well, it's not even a meeting. They're just observing.
Just observing, yeah. It didn't feel. I didn't feel anything. I don't know what I was supposed to feel in that situation.
Yeah, it's not like a thing that's like bringing like emotional resonance. I know like a story reason. It's like, oh shit, it's these universes that you care about, and hey, their worlds are starting to crumble. That's not good. We gotta stop that. That's the gist of it. That's the meaning. But I know it's primarily spotted in there just to be like, hey, cool. It's kind of like a bit of a DC love letter angle. I know that's what they're going for. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh hey, cool. They spotlight Adam West Batman. There was AJ Garrick that nobody online can seem to identify who the fuck played him.
Yeah. So, again, it's like blinking to miss it. What was the point, anyways? But regardless, the universes are colliding, a la Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Very Secret Wars asking more so than Flashpoint. But
that was the most like abrupt incursion I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, what is this?
But I will say, and I know they did it just because it was like, oh, holy shit, they did it. It was they did the Nicolas Cage Superman Lives Superman.
People said that was spoiled months ago. I didn't see that coming at
Really,
all.
I didn't either. Thank God. That was
I was completely shocked.
I was stunned, and I was like, that's fucking cool. Not only because it's Nicolas Cage's Superman, but it's when you know like the whole story of how like for like no
This
good
movie
reason,
almost happened. Yeah.
but for no good reason, the creatives behind it, like this one creative dude was like, you have to have him fight a giant spider. Like, why? It's not a thing for Superman. Just fucking do it. It never got made, and which is funny because it got scrapped, and the dude went on to make Wild Wild West, where for no good reason there's a
There's
fucking
a
giant spider in that
at the end
movie
of the movie. Yep, I remember
in the
that.
Old
Yeah,
West.
yeah, it's weird. Will Smith
But
does his best.
then like fucking
Yeah,
here they have fucking Nicolas Cage Superman fighting this giant spider, and it's like, oh my god, it's fucking they made it real. Like,
I think they did
so,
that.
so just from an absurdity standpoint, it's like that intrigues me and it amuses me.
That was one of the better cameos. Apparently, Nick Cage is actually there. Again, it felt very CGI-ish, but apparently he was
He was
actually
there.
there. That's what Andy's saying. And I'm like, yeah, I don't buy it, buddy.
Were you?
It looked very CGI.
Oh,
Like
they all look CGI for real, for
the
sure. Especially
head
Nick.
thing,
Yeah,
like
I was looking at Nicolas Cage. I was like, yeah, it's Polar Express.
right, yeah. Oh boy, so, yeah, it looked very
Which is
weird.
funny because like I instantly recognized it was his Superman, but like it took him a while for like the hair to come out of his face. So I was like, they're not going to show his face, and they showed his fucking face. I was like, oh my god.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise, we have the conversation, and Dark Flash is like, I almost have it. Like I'm so close. Come on, Barry. He's even trying to like help him along to join him, but it doesn't work, and he lashes out, and second Barry ends up sacrificing himself, pushing him out of the way. I don't think he necessarily intended to die, but it was crucial to close the loop to stop Dark Flash from causing such this rift.
Mm-hmm.
And for Barry to to fully close everything, for Barry to make sure like this timeline doesn't reach to a point where it has to die, he realizes he has to go back and he has to take that can of tomatoes out of the grocery cart. And this probably does lead to my favorite scene of the entire movie, where he has to
Easily
say
the
goodbye to his
best scene in
mom.
the movie.
Yeah,
Easily with the music playing and everything, it was great.
yeah, it's so emotional the way he's. What I love about the performance here, and I know like there's issues with Ezra in real life, but I can't deny the goddamn it, the man is he's a solid actor, man. And I do adore his performance here because it's not just like a stoic sense of like he's sad where like tears are flowing, but he's still holding the scene. He visibly like breaks down like every other line because it's hard to talk to somebody you lost for so long. And not only that, but you're talking to them knowing you have to ensure that they have to stay lost.
Yeah, Bear is going through such a difficult scene or a moment in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole movie is kind of built upon this moment, right? The whole movie he's learning or he's trying to remember the past, whether it's to see his father or just to see his mother again, reminisce about his childhood. And for this one, where he's going against all of that to do the right thing, it's very sad. And the music's playing, and the way he's like trembling with his fingers, his voice is cracking. Yeah, Barry went through it a lot in that scene.
Absolutely. I love the bit. I love that she offers him a hug, and that just I don't know how the hell you survive that, man. I'm gonna shatter if that would happen.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
no. But yeah, the scene goes by and it's really good, and yeah, he puts the tomatoes back, and as he's doing it, I love this because I actually thought about this at the beginning of the movie. I was like, maybe you should just move the fucking camera, save your dad. But then lo and behold, he has this idea, big brain move the specific tomatoes you need to the top shelf, and he goes back to the present, to the court date, and it fucking works, man. He frees his dad, so you do get some semblance of a happy ending for him. That's
yep,
really cool.
that's really cool.
But oops, you still changed time, so
This felt so stupid to me.
all right, hold on. So
Ben Affleck
okay,
had a perfect. Oh yeah, he talk the talk.
he does, he does. Okay, so I'm bummed because this was spoiled for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was spoiled that Clooney was going to make some semblance of an appearance. Specifically, I think I did hear that he was going to be the end of it. Though I was wrapped up with everything else going on in the movie, especially I was like, oh my fuck, I saw Nicolas Cage as Superman. What the fuck's going on? That I completely forgot about it. I didn't until I realized he was starting to pull up and like they were making a big deal to reveal. I was like, oh my fucking god, Clooney's coming. And then lo and behold, it's him. And I mean, I chuckle. He's like, who the fuck is this guy?
It makes for a funny gag, but I'm just like, damn,
Yeah.
just the F off to Ben Affleck's Batman. Like, I like Ben's last scene, but it just felt weird to just be like ending it on a gag.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how we end the DC universe on a gag. It felt weird. And then, no more Supergirl. We last saw her. She's gone.
Did you hear there was like 3 endings
Yeah,
for this?
and I like the other ones better. I felt like keeping Supergirl and keeping Keaton. I felt it wouldn't, because some people said like, well, it kind of goes against the theme of the movie where he has to sacrifice their deaths to move on. I'm like, sure, but also that's where they die in that specific. Yeah, they die in a specific branch. They could still survive in this one, and that would still work thematically for the movie. So I think it would have been a great continuation for Supergirl and for Keaton. But I think they took it away because. Oh, sorry.
I think it's also equally like it would be equally rewarding because like Barry does accept that, in doing the selfish thing of saving his mom, like these people are gonna die. But if he does, that's the whole thing, right? Dark Flash is focusing on like, how do I fix this battle, this battle, this moment? If I do things in a certain order, I can fix it here. Not realizing, hey, try something else. Do the right thing, and put the tomatoes back. But also, if you get creative and move them there, then like, hey, you got your dad back, and now you got your friends are back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could add some more friends, but now he's stuck with these idiots at
stuck with George Clooney
and George Clooney, who he doesn't have a relationship with. And Tasha Cow's gone. Yeah. It kind of what I was saying that was like, it makes it seem like WB really wants to wipe the slate clean with Keaton and with Tasha Cow, Supergirl. Hopefully I'm wrong in terms of Tasha Cow. Hopefully she comes back.
I think she totally could. I did find it funny. It's like, you're not Batman. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that was funny.
I was like, I know like the big thing to laugh at is like the absurdity of like, what? Batman and Robin. But yeah, I can't do that. Also, Clooney has capability of like playing comedy very well, so
definitely.
Yeah, it worked for me as a gag.
That's it.
What is it? Until in another gag and credit scene where Barry and
what was the point of this end credit scene?
Laughter.
It felt so off-putting. I was like, damn,
camaraderie.
Could have left 10 minutes ago.
It's set for Aquaman 2, don't you know?
He's gonna be falling in puddles drunk like an idiot with an arm.
Hey, if it means I can keep Jason Momoa as Arthur, I'm fine with it.
Oh, cool. They all got wiped the slate clean with all of them. No more Gao, no more Jason, no more Ezra. Wipe the slate clean, James. Rip the Band-Aid. Rip the Band-Aid, please. If you're taking away Superman,
but keep Sasha, right?
Hey, that's different. She was just introduced.
She's new.
She's new, yeah. She's not part of the old regime, technically. And she kind of is. Anyways, yeah. I think overall, again, I wish this movie strengthened these character relationships so the ending hits more, like the scene between Barry and Supergirl, Barry and Keaton, I wish those were stronger, Barry and himself. But I like the first half. I like those scenes with Barry and Ben Affleck, Bruce. I like the scenes with Barry and Iris. I like the scenes at the beginning with the whole save the baby scene. Those scenes are fun. I just was more consistent.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny my highlights of the movie are whenever we're focusing on Barry's soul journey, whether that's focusing with his mom or against himself because of his mom. Like, that's the primary stuff that like has me fully locked in.
I can't reiterate that scene, like you said, with Barry and his mom, best scene of the movie, easily. It's fantastic. Those are the kind of directorial sensibilities that I hope Andy brings to Batman Brave and the Bold, which he is now officially on board for. Not the best choice, but I'm optimistic. When you look at the past Batman directors, he's not one that stands out. because he reminded me of a director that doesn't have a style. I'm notoriously not the biggest fan of the It movies. I think It 1 is really good, and then It 2 is a mess.
So wrong.
Not a fan of It 2. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry.
It's funny. I'm a fan of both It's. And I like what he did here with Flash. We didn't mention it. I really like the intro to the title card where it starts to form, but the fans interrupt him.
Me too. That was really cool.
And then they really go into it. Also, yeah, we didn't mention the gag. Like when he loses his power and he tries to do like that absurd skate run, he's just squeaking on the floor.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Did you catch his cameo? Did you catch Andy's cameo?
Totally. I was like, Jalen, that's Andy. He's like, oh, okay, cool. With the hot dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Andy has a lot to live up to. I think he did a solid job. Like this movie was a mess from the beginning. This went through 8 different directors, or probably less so. It went through a lot of directors. It went through a lot of overhaul. He was just a guy to push it across the finish line. So I can see why James is like, listen, buddy, I'll give you Batman in 2 years or 3 years, whatever it comes out. Batman doesn't have a release date, right? It's just
it'll be after 2025.
Yes, after that. So 2026 for now. I think Andy is like, okay, thank you. Like, give him an actual movie that he can get from beginning to end. And I'm hopeful for it. And again, this Batman isn't going to be your Reeves or even your Nolan. This is going to be more, I can tell, funnier, goofy as Batman can be. Kind of Batman, right? It's going to be more, I can't describe it, just a lot more colorful, Guardians-esque, right? Like, this isn't going to be your dark and broody Batman. He has a sidekick this time. He has Robin, Damian Wayne.
His son.
So it's going to be a different dynamic. It's going to be a different Bruce. It's going to be a different Gotham. And I'm excited to see that. I think Andy can serve that kind of Batman well. But we shall see. Overall, I thought this was a messy movie. Yeah. Are we ready to officially say I liked Black Adam a little bit more than The Flash? I'm sorry. In terms of superhero movies this year, I don't know. I give it the same grade as like an Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know if Ant-Man and the Wasp is better.
I like us more than Quantumania.
It's hard. But, I did like, controversy aside, Jonathan Majors was a big part of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he's incredible in that movie.
Look, if Quantumania stuck with what the fuck they marketed in the trailer for Scott, I would be over the moon with that movie. But they swapped me out, and it's still it's interesting. It's interesting for Janet, sure, but that's not what you marketed. Anyway, Flash is my 9th favorite film of the year thus far. I think I like it more than Black Adam. I still need to watch Shazam 2.
I think I like Shazam 2 is not good.
Not good?
Not good.
I wouldn't say that. I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't say that.
But I think it's better than Flash, I think. I don't know. I left Flash feeling
What are you?
I left Flash being like, that was a movie. I left Shazam 2 being like, that was a movie. They both have very big drawbacks, but I don't know. I think I have this one right in front of Across the Spider-Verse. It's hard. I'm kidding, guys. But yeah, we'll see. I think Blue Beetle could be the big stealer of the year for DC at least.
I'm still very much.
I'm hoping for the best for Blue Beetle. My man Solo. Box office wise, it might flop, but quality wise, it might do good.
Listening to a recent podcast interview James Gunn did, I know he addressed in the same podcast. He does say Superman Legacy is the real kickstart of the universe, but he does say Blue Beetle is the first character of the new era.
What does he say about Aquaman?
It wasn't brought up.
He wants people to forget Aquaman.
It wasn't brought up. But yeah, that being said, that's our show.
That's the show, baby. That's the job. That's the pod.
101.
We need to find that's the pod.
That's the pod. I got hot. Can Angela Bassett go on Cameo? So I'm
about to say, yeah. Can I pay Angela Bassett $100? Probably more than $100
Has she not
cameo.
given everything?
Angela Bassett
So
did the
good.
thing.
She's so good.
She's fantastic. So yeah, just say that's the pod, please. Anyways, yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, Harris EV9. Like I said up top, we're gonna be doing Secret Invasion reviews every week. Same goes for Ahsoka coming out in just over a month now.
Wow.
Loki coming up soon. Echo. A lot of the superhero shows. Fall season's coming right up. Summer's halfway through.
We're also covering commentaries of every Mission Impossible film leading up to Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Hell yeah, those reactions came out the other day. Very good reactions. Tom Cruise, he don't miss.
You don't miss. Bum,
I'm
bum,
psyched. So yeah, Mission Impossible 2 tomorrow. I'm very excited about that one because it's one I've seen the least, so it's gonna be fun to revisit that one.
Same here.
So yeah,
wonderful. Enjoy it more. I never hated it. I just it is my least favorite.
Also, if people are big Final Fantasy fans, Final Fantasy 16 officially drops now. But my package, my $120 package, doesn't get in until tomorrow at 7. And I accidentally ordered it at my mom's house. So I have to drive back over there and then drive back home. It's
$120 package.
It was deluxe edition. It came with flags and a world map.
Okay.
I had to get it. Believe me, I had to.
Believe it.
Just like I bought the deluxe edition for Spider-Man. I bought the launch edition on Amazon Prime, but I think I have to cave in and get the digital deluxe. I don't want to.
Did you get the statue?
No, I'm not doing that collector's edition stuff. Yeah. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I'm not that big of a Spider-Man fan. But because deluxe edition, I thought it was going to have similar stuff to the launch edition, but the launch edition comes with the pre-order stuff, but the deluxe edition gets like there's 10 additional suits, and I'm like, why can't those 10 suits come with the launch edition on Amazon Prime? Either way, I might have to get a digital version for Spider-Man, which I don't want to, but I might have to. Anyways, find me on Twitter, Harris EV9, talking all things comic book movies, TV shows, Star Wars, etc. Anime, you know the rest.
You can follow me at _TimeBlazer, making a show called Time Blazer with creative consultant and co-star Evan Harris.
Ben!
Yes, that is his character's name. Very excited to always be updating new stuff, so please check the official Twitter or this YouTube channel for updates on it. And that being said, if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, not already, ring that bell so you miss Evan requesting that you ring that bell. And that being said, I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you guys next time.